For the prayer. Dear God, today as the session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city to make it a better place to live and work. Amen. Salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Noon.
Here.
Councilor Robinson.
Here.
Mayor Rourke.
Here.
Councilor Scott. Councilor Yem.
Here.
Councilor Belanger.
Here.
Councilor Chow.
Here.
Councilor Dakota.
Here.
Councilor Gitchia.
Here.
Councilor Janess.
Here.
Councilor Mercier.
Here.
And present.
Hey, Mayor's Business 2.1, communication, remote Zoom participation, and motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Belanger. Seconded by Councilor Chow. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 2.2, we have a presentation this evening on behalf of the Terrence Mann Complete Player Foundation. We have Ms. Danielle LaForce. Ma'am?
Thank you. Mayor, city councilors, and city manager, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to come and address you guys this evening. My name is Danielle LaForce. I'm the mother of Terrence Mann, the fifth-year NBA player for the Los Angeles Clippers. We are proud to say we are from Lowell. We lived in your city for 8 years while I was the head women's basketball coach at Northeastern University. Your city has been very kind to both my sons, Martin and Terrence, in helping me raise strong, intelligent, and very athletic young men. We hold the city very near and dear to our hearts. Terrence being in Los Angeles, me not living in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and being from New York, we could have done our community support anywhere in the country. But we chose your city to come back and to give back and to thank you for what you have done for my boys. The Terrence Mann Complete Player Foundation is a foundation based on helping minority students enter private school and independent boarding school, as well as hosting camps and clinics where we bring private schools and independent boarding schools from across the country to meet campers and parents to tell them about the great academic experience of independent boarding schools. If it wasn't for independent boarding schools, my son would not be where they are today. So we want to make sure we give kids the opportunity to experience such a great academic opportunity. In Lowell, over the next couple of days, 10 days, we are doing a T-Man takeover, where we're going to take over our city. We're doing a fashion show on Thursday at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. Doors open at 6 p.m. There we are giving a platform to local designers from our area, as well as student designers from LaSalle University in Boston. We are accumulating two things: Terrence's passion for fashion and his passion to give back to his community and make a way for the people who need it the most. In addition, we're also hosting the Billie G Classic at Lowell Catholic in honor of Billy Gilmore from the Boys and Girls Club of Lowell, someone who is very instrumental in my son's life. In addition, we're also hosting a camp at Millworks in Westford, the 18th to the 22nd. Again, an opportunity to give kids an option to do things the right way and not make poor decisions. We hold this community so near and dear to our hearts, so we want to thank you and also invite each and every one of you to come out and to support Terrence Mann. He loves Lowell, and he wants to see you guys there supporting him as he uplifts our community. He said to me, "Mom, I want to do for Lowell what LeBron did for Akron. I want to put that city on the map. I want everybody to come from all over the country to Lowell to see the beauty of the people that are in this community and all the young kids that are deserving and in need of an opportunity to shine, just like Martin and Terrence, my sons." So thank you very much for being here. This is a little overwhelming. It's a great setting. Well, I know you guys got a lot going on, but I really, really want to thank you as a mother, raising my two kids in your community. Thank you so very much for being patient, kind, loving, and helping me raise two wonderful people. Now let's do it for every other kid in the community that deserves that opportunity. Thank you.
Mr. LaForce, thank you very much, and we'll see you on Thursday, right? All right, thank you. Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor,
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if it's appropriate, but it'd be up to you. Since we heard from a presentation from Dania, I just thought we could suspend the rules and allow 7.3 informational report from the Lowell Community Health Center and the Lowell High School project. If we could do that.
Sure, I just want to go to the manager real quick, and then we'll go right to that. Is that okay?
Sure, thank
Counselor?
you.
All right, Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and through the council. Council has become a custom. We want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity, and I know you probably have met Mr. Rosenberry. I just want to give Will Rosenberry, our new elections director, an opportunity just to introduce himself. He's coming from the Secretary of State's office, has been there for 16 years. I don't want to say any more about that, but Mr. Rosenberry, if you could just come on up and so everybody gets an idea, ability to meet you, and if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and just say hello to the councilors.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and councilors and residents of Lowell. My name is Will Rosenberry, and I'm pleased to present myself to you as the new elections director Director of Elections and Census for the city. I reside here in Lowell with my wife and our 2 kids who attend public schools. I've dedicated my career to public service and have 18 years of experience administering fair and accurate and secure elections here in the Commonwealth, some as an intern. For the last 10 years, I've been a manager in the Secretary of State's Elections Division, playing a critical central role in all aspects of elections administration, from their planning and conceptualization to their successful execution and certification. A subject matter expert, well-versed in election law, I have a record of strong leadership and collaboration with colleagues, cities and towns, and partners in business and government to achieve seemingly impossible goals, navigate rough waters, and solve difficult puzzles. I've spent my career implementing public policy that has expanded the franchise and brought new voters into the process. Whether it be the pre-registration of 16 and 17-year-olds, online and automatic voter registration, and creating a safe and secure vote-by-mail program amidst a global pandemic and threats to our democracy. My background and experience makes me uniquely suited for this position here in Lowell. At the state, I was lucky to have been involved in many of the unique challenges presented by the city of Lowell and help find solutions. In 2017, my expertise in ballot design and production was sought out by the city as they developed the first trilingual ballots, Spanish, English, Khmer, in the history of Massachusetts. Since then, I've been producing trilingual state primary and election materials for state elections and primaries as the manager of the state's printing contracts. In 2021, I assisted the city and provided technical assistance in the implementation of the new city council districts. And in 2022, again, assisted the city in drawing new ward and precinct map and determining suitable polling locations for the upcoming primary and election, as well as implementing the new state legislative districts drawn as a result of the 2020 census. Now I'm excited to be able to come to Lowell and share my skills, knowledge, and expertise here as the director. There are challenges in running any election, but we roll our sleeves up and we get the job done no matter what, and rest assured I have a history of doing just that. Before my arrival, the Lowell Elections Department successfully mailed out over 7,000 mail-in ballots within a week, and we have been coming in early and working nights and every weekend processing nearly 2,500 returned ballots so far, training poll workers and planning for and preparing for a week-long early voting period as well as primary day on September 3rd, and we will continue on this same pace to work hard the November election to ensure that all votes are counted accurately and timely. I've reached out to our partners at USPS, the United States Postal Service, and will continue to have an open dialogue. I've been assured and have seen that they're currently meeting delivery standards here in Massachusetts and told that USPS will be, as they have in the past, putting in place extreme measures to deal with the onslaught of applications and mail-in ballots that are expected as part of the November election. I'm grateful for the city. They have made significant improvements and continue to make investments in the elections department, the purchase of new voting equipment, and a high-speed tabulator last year to help deal with the burden of mail-in voting and early voting. There have been investments in staffing as well. We have 4 full-time employees, and we have additional personnel for mass hires from Youth Build, and we also have our senior volunteers who help us with our administrative tasks. In fact, this entire building seems committed to making elections in Lowell a success. In my short time here, I've only been here for about a week and a half, I've had employees and heads of other departments and divisions here stop me in the hallway and reach out with offers to jump in and help out as needed, as they have in the past. As the Director of Elections and Census, I will discharge my duties impartially and without personal bias. I will always hold myself accountable, and I will treat all courteously and with dignity and respect. I aim to be a proactive, inclusive, and accessible public manager with the goal of increasing participation, welcoming new voters into the franchise, and continuing to improve administrative processes while adhering to and enforcing the laws of and Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and of the United States of America, and now the laws and charter of the City of Lowell. I'm happy to have been brought on board and pleased to report that the Lowell Elections Department is fully operational and capable of administering whatever is thrown at us. It's an honor to have been selected to serve the city that I call home, and I'm excited about the future of elections in Lowell. Thank you for your time, Mr. Manager, Mr. Mayor, and Council. Thank you.
Mr. Rosenberry, thank you very much. Before we get to Council Mercier, Section 3, City Clerk, 3.1, minutes of the City Council meeting, July 23rd. Senior Citizen Subcommittee, August 1st for acceptance. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Getchia, second by Councilor Mercier. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Motion by Councilor Mercier to take Section 7.3 out of order, second by Councilor Getchia. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 7.3, information report, Lowell Community Health Center. Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. This was a motion that was brought forward to see what would be happening. So we decided to bring in Sue Wing from the Lowell Community Health Center to go through a brief presentation to bring everyone up to speed on this. But I know that many of the councilors have already met with the executive director. But this is probably a little bit of a refresher for everybody, but also something for the public to know what's happening over the Lowell Community Health Center. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Well, thank you very much. So as the manager said, I'm Sue Levine, and I'm the CEO of Lowell Community Health Center. I've been serving the health center in this community for over 8 years now. Thank you, Councilor Mercier, for filing the motion to have us on this evening's agenda. Thank you to the council, Mayor Rourke, Manager Golden, and thank you all. So many of you, almost all of you, visited our health center over this summer to learn about some really exciting projects that we are going to share with you this evening. But first, what I'd like to do is introduce a few board members who are with me. So we have, I'm going to start here, we have Dr. Sangeeta Pillai, who's a physician at Lowell General Hospital, Dr. Mary Gallant, who's the dean at UMass Lowell. We have Javier Ramos over there. He's one of our newest board members, and he's a patient of our health center. And then we have Mariatu Dumboya, who is our longest serving board member at 25 years, and she is also a patient of our health center. And I'm so glad to be joined by them. And one of the reasons I wanted them to join me is to tell you that one of the distinguishing features of our community health center is that we are governed by a majority board members who are patients of the health center. So the patients guide the work that we do at the health center, and they do my annual performance evaluation. So we're very lucky that we have the consumers of our health centers making sure we are squarely focused on community need and being a health center of and by our community. But I'm here tonight to talk to you about a very exciting initiative that we have that we're bringing to Lowell, which we are hoping will be transformative for this city. But first, I want to give you a quick glimpse as to where we are today and how we got to where we are today. So we serve over 36,000 primary care patients, translating to 1,000 patients coming through our doors today. And by the way, we had a mass evacuation today, and it felt like 5,000 people coming out of our building for a false fire alarm. And we serve, actually we employ over 530 staff. About 50% live in the city, and that number puts us on the list of the top 10 largest employers in the city of Lowell. But we had very humble beginnings, and I don't know how many of you remember Shaughnessy Terrace pictured lower here, but in 1970 we were founded by Lowell General Hospital, and our first clinic was a one-room clinic in this public housing complex to bring care to the women and families that were living in Shaughnessy Terrace. And then we expanded over time to several sites across the city. And then in 2012, we consolidated several of our sites, but not all of them, onto Jackson Street. So 161 Jackson Street, where we moved into 200,000 square feet. And this is really the pivotal moment where we grew, and we nearly doubled the size of patients that we could serve based on that square footage. And we became a full-service health center. So not just primary care, but behavioral health care, addiction treatment, we have youth programs, we have laboratory services, dental and vision, and so much more. And that was one of the significant milestones for our health center. But we continue to grow and evolve. Our mission is to continue to meet the needs of our community and do what it takes to do just that. So over the past 6 months or so, we've been doing a major transformation on our first floor of the health center. We are building out our own pharmacy program. And it's going to be a pretty cutting-edge pharmacy with some new computerized technology to improve service to our patients. And then we are also expanding our patient walk-in center. So we're adding more exam rooms. And what that's going to do is allow us to have additional capacity for same-day sick visits. And what's important about that is the goal is to reduce unnecessary trips to emergency rooms. And with that, we're also creating a new welcome center to provide better service to our patients. We know our healthcare system is complex. You got to get medical records, you got to enroll insurance. And so we're building a center right on the first floor to provide better service to our patients. But I'm here this evening to talk to you about this big, ambitious project that we have underway at the health center, and that is to tackle one of the largest challenges facing the American healthcare system today, and that is the shortage of primary care providers and nurses across the nation, not just here in Lowell. It's a pretty vexing problem. So we've decided to tackle it head on, and we are going to establish Lowell's very first primary care physician residency program right at Lowell Community Health Center. And that program so a residency program is the training that medical students upon graduation must embark upon before they can become fully licensed and independent physicians. And so for primary care, it's usually a 3-year residency. And so we've already had several of our applications approved. As I keep saying, we're on the train. This thing is happening. We're going to launch in July of 2026. And as I said, it's a 3-year program. So by the time we get to the year 3, we will have 18 physician trainees right here in downtown Lowell. And we will then graduate 6 physicians a year. And studies demonstrate that physicians that train in a community often then stay in their community. And so I imagine many of you in your own lives, friends, family, your constituents, you're hearing about access to primary care and people not being able to find a doctor. So this is our way of making sure that Lowell Community Health Center responds to that and that we train doctors in Lowell. And then we're going to do everything in our power to keep them right here in our community. It doesn't mean they need to stay at our health center. They can go work for Lowell General, start a private practice. But as long as we train them, we're going to build more physician capacity right here in our community. And then that provides more access to patients. So we can add 5,000 more patients to be served right at our health center. The companion program to this is a Health Justice Learning Institute, and this is the program that will provide the training environment for nurses, nurse practitioners, medical assistants, and other health professionals, because they all have clinical training requirements in order to graduate. And so we're also creating that environment contiguous to the residency program, so we can make sure that they have an opportunity to train in our community based on our community need. And then, as I said, we'll do everything in our power to keep them right here to best serve this beautiful city of Lowell. And with that, just want to say thank you very much to the counselors who have taken time to learn about this ambitious program. It will start in July of 2026, and we're very excited. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me and be happy to answer those or host you or get you more information. So thank you very much.
Councilor Getchia?
Thank you, Mayor Rourke, and I thank Sue and her staff and her board that has put this together. As we look across Massachusetts, we see people walking away, healthcare providers just walking away, and Lowell has a unique opportunity to help grow the healthcare providers. And one thing that has been stated through when we sat with them was they want to prevent people. It's a prevention thing. It's trying to give, less fortunate people an opportunity to have health care and make it work. And I think that as we sit here as counselors, through the years, we see a lot of TIFs go to a lot of places that we give for businesses to come here, and we give millions of dollars. And we get back some employees here or there, but I don't think they have the meaning that the healthcare provider would have to our city. And I would ask the manager not only to make an investment in it, but make one of the largest investments the city can into this. And we're not talking like 1 million, we're talking millions, because when I sat down with them, they were talking they needed millions of dollars to get this done. And I just think that we have a unique opportunity with the opera funds, that we do have some left over that we can run that way. And I think we need to make a statement to everybody in not only our community, but into Massachusetts, that Lowell is here and we want the health care here and we want to give it to the underprivileged people. We want to make sure that we keep them here and we bring in the providers to keep people safe. We have a large community of homeless people. We have a large community of people on the border of poverty. And this is one way that Lowell can make a statement with an investment that's extremely large to get this stuff done, and then give them free up dollars in other areas so that they can continue make great investments in our community. I thank all of you for what you do for the healthcare in our city, and I do think that this is a great piece that could be put together to make a major difference in a lot of people's lives, and I thank you again.
Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have an occasion to go to the Lowell Community Health Center very often, but when I did go many years ago, I was impressed and grateful that we had such a facility in the city. And then we all, as councilors, got an invitation to go up to hear from Jen and also from Sue Levine to see what was going to happen here with the doctors training program, training doctors in Lowell, for Lowell. And I was very, very impressed. And I went on a tour along with Councilor Paul Rathayem. So that motion didn't come just from me. It was a dual motion from the both of us, because we were so very, very pleased to know that they had so much to offer that I thought it was informative to make the motion to bring Susan here to learn about adult, family, and pediatric medicine, dental care services, community health and training programs, eye care, HIV services, mental health services, nutrition counseling, on-site labs, patient walk-in center, pharmacy. I didn't even know they had a pharmacy. School-based health center, substance use services, youth programs with the teens. I was so impressed that we both said, could we make a motion to allow them to come up and speak? So to all of you from the Lowell Community Health Center, thank you so much for being here. It is very important for our health that we have a doctor when we need one. So this is a creative idea. Lowell training doctors to be here and even live in Lowell. How better than that? So thank you very much. Thank you for the presentation. It was well executed and so beautiful. Thank you so much. My hat goes off to you.
Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. I just think to thank everybody that has put this together. I think that's a perfect example of outside the box, creative thinking, forward thinking, realizing what's missing in the community or ways to improve your community. I mean, we here have tried how many pilot programs. To think this group of talented people sat down and figured out a way to put 18 doctors in our community, so to say, once this program's up and going, with 6 graduated annually. That's incredible. To be able to service an additional 5,000 potential patients, incredible. I mean, CVS is gone. as we're all aware, which service a large population. We have a large elderly population in downtown. They're stepping up and putting in a brand new state-of-the-art pharmacy. I mean, I think this is one of those pilot programs that you're going to see copied very soon as they're off and running. And I'd just like to thank everybody involved, and I would echo any support from the city that we can throw behind this. I think it's a no-brainer. Thank you very much.
Councilor Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can't think of a better way to utilize ARPA funds than a project like this. So I do agree with my colleagues. Councilor Gittier did mention millions. I think we are in the millions range with this. We see on the news what's going on with Stewards hospitals and what they're going through out there in Central Mass. And here we are with this creative organization that is putting together such a plan. And I think it's well worth the money, City Manager. Thank you very much.
Councilor Yam.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just again want to echo my colleagues, and I want to thank Sue, Jen, and the staff of the health center come to make presentation. The reason Councilor Mercy and I want you to come and make presentation, not just for us, because we had an opportunity to meet with you and to walk through. I want people at home who are watching the council meeting to hear what Community Health Center is doing. So when Sue and Jen talked about residents, I was thinking maybe not just a trained doctor, but also provide housing as part of that. And Sue said, that's a great idea. So let's talk to the manager. Maybe the city can commit some money. The next step forward, not just a trained doctor, but provide a residency as a home where the doctors and the family live and while they go to training. So that's the next step that we would like to show our support as a city for the council. For the Community Health Center. With the crisis of Stewart Hospital closing, this is an opportunity for us to expand the Community Health Center to serving people who may lose benefit or lose services due to the fact that Stewart Hospital is closing. Again, thank you for what you do, and we will provide you support that we can. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Got Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to echo the support and the commendation my colleagues stated earlier as well, but I also want to take, just put in perspective a little bit. Having a community health center in our community, it's such a gem. And a community center like this, it's not, when we talk about it, it's not like other people are using it, or we're not using it. I can tell you I have a lot of friends, a lot of family members that have used it. I myself, growing up, I have used community health center before, and to have a healthy, a vibrant, a growing health community center in our city, it's something that we never ever want to risk losing, as the other colleagues have mentioned already, with the risk of the other bigger hospitals and so forth going down. We definitely want to put our best foot forward to support the health center as much as we can, not just verbally, but financially, resource-wise, politically even, to make sure that they get the support from the city as much as possible. Thank you.
Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I want to thank Lowell Community Health Center, staff, board, and all the patients. As Sue Levine said, the community health evolved around its people, the people that they serve. If you look at the Lowell Community Health, their staff is reflective of the people they serve. Over the years, where other community health elsewhere shrink or shut down, Lowell Community Health build up every year. You just go into the corridor, you see the work that they've done, right? So it's more like a one-stop shop kind of service. And have you ever turned anyone away? I don't think so. So you treat people with respect. People walk in the door, you treat them without asking. And that's the kind of the work that you've done. And this council and this city, you're well known. The service, the work you've done. Not just in Lowell, not just in Massachusetts, nationwide. I know you've been to D.C. receiving award for the work you've done, your staff. So I know well how the Southeast Asian community first came. East meet West, we call Meta Project. Start from there, linking, building up every year. So we want to thank you, all of us here, all of us at home, in this city and this state. Thank you for all you do. You will have our back. We will have your back. Thank you.
Thank you, fellow councils. Ms. Levine, thank you very much. It being 7 o'clock, we'll just hopefully fly through these public hearings real quick. 4.1, ordinance to amend Chapter 266-43, special speed regulations. You know, open the hearing from oh, sorry. An ordinance amending this Code of Ordinances for the City of Lowell, Massachusetts, the code with respect to Chapter 266 entitled Vehicles and Traffic by amended Section 43 entitled Special Speed Regulations. Open the meeting for all those in favor. In favor. In favor. Portion of the meeting is closed. All those in opposition. 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 That portion of the meeting is closed. A motion to adopt by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Robinson. Roll call.
Council Noon.
Yes.
Council Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Council Scott. Council Yem.
Yes.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
Council Chow.
Yes.
Council Dakota.
Yes.
Council Getchia.
Yes.
Council Janess.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
10 yeas.
4.2, ordinance to amend Chapter 50, officers and employees. Second reading by title, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, Massachusetts, with respect to Chapter 50, entitled Officers and Employees, by placing the Elections Division and its staff under the direction and control of the city clerk, and placing the position of municipal hearing officer under the responsibilities of the Assistant City Solicitor. Open the meeting. All those in favor? In favor? In favor? Portion of the meeting is closed. All those in opposition? 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 That portion of the meeting is closed. Need a motion to adopt by Councilor Dakota, second by Councilor Mercia. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a motion that I made some time ago, and thank you for the quick response. But for the record, I wanted everyone to know that I didn't just think that this should happen without getting some feedback from the respective department heads, the city clerk, and the election office. And I asked if I made this motion, would this burden you in any way? Would you object to this? Do you mind if I did it? And both parties said, no, that would be a good idea. So only when I heard that I made this motion. So thank you for having the drawn up ordinance. Thank you.
Roll call.
Council Noon.
Yes.
Council Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Council Scott. Council Yem.
Yes.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
Council Chow.
Yes.
Council Dakota.
Yes.
Council Getchia.
Yes.
Council Janess.
Yes.
What was that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Council Mercia.
Yes.
10 yeas.
4.3, ordinance to amend Chapter 56, Director of Elections. Second reading. An ordinance amending the position of Director of Elections by deleting the title of Municipal Hearing Officer and amending the salary of Director of Elections in the Elections Division. Start off the meeting with all those in favor. In favor. In favor. Portion of the meeting is closed. All those in opposition. 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 That portion of the meeting is closed. Motion to adopt by Councilor Yam, second by Councilor Noon. Roll call.
Council Noon.
Yes.
Council Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Council Scott. Council Yem.
Yes.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
Council Chow.
Yes.
Council Dakota.
Yes.
Council Getchia.
Yes.
Council Janess.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
10 yeas.
Mr. Mayor, can we bundle 5.1 to 5.3?
By Councilor Noon, second by
You can't bundle a public hearing.
public. Since it's a wire expected, it'll take 30 seconds.
Yeah.
5.1, National Grid request permission to install one jail pole on Quebec Street. Second reading. Motion to refer to wire inspector for a report recommendation by Councilor Getchia.
When it closes the meeting. Yeah, you gotta open it.
Okay, open the meeting for all those in favor. In favor. In favor. Portion of the meeting is closed. All those in opposition. 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 The portion of the meeting is closed. Motion to refer to wire inspector for a report and recommendation by Councilor Getchia, second by Councilor Dakota.
Nope, that's
All
it.
those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes 5-2. Boston Gas, DBA National Grid request installation of replacement 6-inch plastic gas main on Powell Street. Need a motion to, open meeting for those in favor, in favor, in favor. Portion of the meeting is closed. Those in opposition, opposition, opposition. That portion of the meeting is closed. Motion to refer to wire inspector for a report recommendation by Councilor Chow, second by Councilor Mercia. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. And 5.3, Boston Gas, DBA National Grid request installation and replacement 2-inch gas main on Appleton Street. Throughout the meeting, all those in favor, in favor, in favor. Portion of the meeting is closed. All those in opposition, opposition, opposition. That portion of the meeting is closed. Need a motion to refer to wire inspector for a report recommendation by Councilor Belanger, second by Councilor Robinson. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Heading back to the suspension of the rules. 7.3, official reports, Lowell High School project. Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Council, it's been asked of us to bring forward Mr. Dowd from Skanska to give us an update of what's going to be happening over the Lowell High project. I was lucky enough to see Mr. Dowd there on Sunday late morning, early afternoon, and I'll take it away, Mr. Dowd. Thank you very much.
Good evening. The first portion of our presentation will be an update on the status of the construction, and then I will give the council an update on the budget. Ms. San Chung will proceed with the update on the construction from Suffolk Construction.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Pana San Chung, Senior Project Manager with Suffolk Construction, and I will be providing the update on the construction project tonight. Okay. So construction update, just going to run through a few of the actual milestones that we have for August. In August right now for phase 2, if you're driving by, you can probably see that there is a lot of exterior work going on right now. Our milestone is to complete the exterior site work and hardscapes, which includes the landscaping, by the end of this month, and also complete the interior main lobby and cafeteria. So if I'll show some photos in the next couple of slides. But right now we are going for our TCO on next Wednesday, August 21st, in order to prep for the administration to return on Monday, August 19th. And then staff return on 8/26, and then the students return on 8/27. And then just for phase 3 milestone, phase 3 is the 1922 building and the 1980s building where the existing cafeteria was. We demo and take down the North Bridge, continue with the demo in building A and building C, also start steel in building C, and then just the mechanical penthouse work as well on the top of building A, the 1922 building. Next slide here, just so everyone can be familiar with the actual logistics of the project. Right now, we are going to wrap up phase 2, which is the new academic wing, Freshman Academy, the main entrance, and also the cafeteria, which is this green area right here. So that's the new Freshman Academy, which we call Building F. Also the main entrance, and then the academic wing, which is the back of Building D, which used to be the media center. And then phase 3, which we started in July, is this blue area right here. So we took over the north side of Building C, which is the cafeteria, where the existing cafeteria was. We also took down this North Bridge, and then also the academic building 1922, where the auditorium was. So next couple of slides, just some photos, progress photos. This was the North Bridge demo that happened 2 weekends ago. So this came down over the weekend, so that bridge is now gone. Next photo here is just a typical classroom in the new freshman wing. So that's all finished and ready for the students' return. This next one is the quad entrance. So if you're going into from Arcan Drive, the new quad area, this is the main vestibule going into that main lobby. And this is the new media wall right in the main lobby. This photo was taken last week. So now all of the ceiling is 100% complete. The millwork, panels, all of that. This is essentially what we call the heart of the school. And this is looking in the opposite direction at the stadium seating and stair D, also in the main lobby. This is the aerial view looking at the exterior quad view. So this area is going to be wrapping up once kids arrive. So this spot right here is where the synthetic turf is going to be. All of this is sidewalk, paved, cobblestones. So that's it for photos. My next update is just on the MBE, WBE progress. To date, we have 23.6% of minority workforce on the project, which is exceeding the project goal. The project goal is currently 15.3%. We are at 23.6% to date, and that's about 719 workers. Moving on to the local residents, we do not have a project goal for the residents, but we're at 9.19%. Which is about 123 workers to date. And then the female workforce, the project goal is 6.9%. We are at 4.6, and that's about 120 workers to date.
Oh, I'm sorry. Could we interject a question at this slide, Mr. Mayor? Do we have a total for the union trade workers? Union trade workers?
We do, but I don't have that on this slide right now, but I do have that percentage.
Okay, could we somehow get it in a few,
Yes,
the next?
I can send it over to Jim and he can pass it along.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you.
Yes. Okay, and from here, I'm going to turn it to Mr. Dowd to talk about the budget update.
Thank you. The overall project budget is $381.9 million. Sorry. Of that, $358.9 million has been encumbered, basically bought out. It's all contracted for. On top of that is contingencies and furnitures, fixtures, and equipment, which half of that is still being bought out. The number we focus on in managing to is the $13 million remaining in contingency. We started out with $21.2 million in construction contingency. To date, we have spent $8.1 million, and we have $13 million remaining, and we are at the halfway point in the project. Pending change requests are $2.3 million. One thing I want to point out that these are what we anticipate being submitted and what have been submitted and are being vetted. All the change orders that get submitted do not get approved at what they are submitted at. We have a long back and forth process with Suffolk and the subcontractors in which we review them and push back. Some are rejected. Some are told that no, if that's $25,000, we go through it and say it's worth $18,000 and push back. The architects, engineers also add their expertise to what the cost should be. So there's a lot of advocacy going on behalf of the city, making sure that every dollar is spent wisely. We currently, so that is what we are processing right now. The $13 million, we recently had a large change order. When we say change orders, is 24 to date. Those usually encompass 15 to 25 different items. We had some large items. There was flooring in the 1922 building that needed to be replaced. We thought it was all going to stay. We did a mock-up of one of the wood floors. When they did the mock-up, they realized that that was not going to last another 50 years. That had to be replaced. We also had encountered some plaster ceiling that wasn't anticipated to be removed in 60 different classrooms and hallways, which was costly. And so we are proceeding well where we are at right now. Those costs were in the 22. We knew we were going to have some costs in the 22, and we're in a decent place right now. Moving on to the overall project budget, we're updated through June. We just processed the July requisitions. June's bill right here was $5.1 million. We've spent $206 million to date. Actually, I'm going to go back up. One very important number is right here, MSBA reimbursement. We've received $148.2 million from the state to date, which is a significant amount of money. And as I said, $5.1 million was billed in June, $206 million to date. And again, the main thing we track is this $13 million in contingency. And I would open it up to questions if you would like for myself and Suffolk.
Councilor Robertson?
Thank you. Of all the change orders, are they pretty much all initiated from the different construction teams that are working, or have any of them been something that wasn't decided initially from the client, so to say?
Some are from the city for items we see and we hear from different departments. We work with the city manager's office, and the architect issues field bulletins to make changes. The architect, there's also issues that come up with the drawings, and the architect sometimes those are found by the architect, sometimes they are found by the subcontractors, sometimes by Suffolk, and sometimes by Skanska, and those end up in field bulletins. So they'll issue direction, the architect issues direction to Suffolk, Suffolk will price it, and then they will proceed with that change.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome,
Councilor
Council.
Getchia?
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Through you to Mr. Dowd. What percentage of the project do you think were already completed? I know you said the 2 phases. You're saying 50%, more or less?
There's different way at the dollar value. We are just over 50%. Square footage, we actually looked at that, and we were just under 50%, but you have a lot of large hallways in the 22 that make up a lot of square footage. So whereas the new construction is more conservative in square footage, so we're depending on which number you want to look at. We're at about halfway through the project.
Those were the 2 areas that I was concerned with, square footage versus the percentage paid, because it looks like 54% is already paid, so, of the budget, which is, when I talk to people, when your change orders come in, are they quality change orders? Like, are we lessening the quality of any materials that we wanted, or is it always a gain for the city? Are we actually improving the quality, or are we staying the same? Because say we wanted maple floor or whatever, some type of flooring, are we going less on the flooring? Are we higher, or are these just simple change orders like doorknobs and stuff like that?
Change orders are typically, there's some detail that was not encountered, or the fact that we're working in an existing building, there was something unforeseen. One large change order is actually connecting to the steel in the 1980s building. In 1980, lead was outlawed at that point, and we anticipated no lead in the paint covering the steel in the 1980s building. Just to be sure, there was in fact lead in that paint, a slight amount of lead, which has actually forced us to. There was some costly removal of the lead to connect to that paint.
Yeah, so my question basically was, we're not compromising quality in any way, because some people will take that, and when you say change orders, some people think, okay, it's like a bargain between, can we get better quality or worse quality, so that's really what the question was.
The change orders are for differing conditions that were encountered. Suffolk has a contract to install, if it's a maple floor, if it's a maple railing, they're contracted for that, and it's staying with that.
Okay, so the quality hasn't changed from the original design?
Not at all.
And the other thing would be, the question would be, I know we were supposed to turn this back over to the school department in late July, early August, and we haven't met that. When is that going to get turned over? Has it already been turned over?
The school is being turned over in the next week. We anticipate certificate of occupancy on the, I believe, Thursday, the 22nd, for students arriving on the 26th. We always knew going into this that the base work for phase 2, some of that it's going to be done on time. We were looking for that to be done a little bit earlier. We were not afforded that convenience of having it opened earlier, but it will be opened on time. We're speaking with Suffolk, working with them pretty much by the minute and 7 days a week to get it open. But also we're flipping from phase 2 to phase 3. There are a lot of areas that Suffolk couldn't start working on until we moved out of them which was school got out on the June 18th. We had the movers come in immediately the next day. We got everything out of there for them to start, which ended up from June 25th till now, they have to put up all the demising walls, which are the walls that separate phase 2 from phase 3, which is a very large endeavor, and that we knew that was going to be done finishing last minute, and it's going as planned.
Has the school department had any issues with their scheduling that they reached out to you guys? Because I know being in that environment, it changed for a week for teachers getting ready and prep time for everybody. Have they reached out and had any concern, or are they all set with where we are?
They are working with where we are. Would we have liked to have gotten the teachers in a couple days earlier? Absolutely, but under the conditions of how tight the flip was between phase 2 and phase 3, we knew they were not going to get much time. Mr. Fiato, head of school, I speak with daily. I've also spoken with Superintendent Skinner, and I am now providing a daily update to the manager, Superintendent Skinner, and Commissioner St. Cyr every day at 4 o'clock on what we've accomplished during the day through the 25th, when we get the teachers in on the 26th.
So for everybody concerned, the school's on time, it's going to be opened on time, and there's not going to be an issue with any of the opening of the school for the new year. Yeah, I mean, the project's so large, Mr. Mayor, that, timeframes do move very quickly in a project like this, and you get into concerns like this. And it's good to hear that, you got two companies that are working well together and trying to get everything back in line. And sometimes it pushes, and teachers get very upset because they can't, get their classrooms ready. But I thank you for your hard work on this. I think that when you outlined all of your finances to me, after speaking with a few people on this project, you look at the funding sources, they assured me that they're under budget, on time. You got snow days, you got everything else in between this that push their schedule that they're not used to. If you take 5 snow days, now it pushes their schedule 2 weeks, not 1, because now the school has to be occupied longer during the summertime. So there's always challenges there. And I can't thank you guys enough for, trying to get this done. I think the school looks very good, and if the quality is what you're saying, then our big challenge is going to be, this is not an old building like City Hall or one of these other schools. It's manning it for maintenance, because it's a technology-driven school now. It's not an old building, so I think that's going to be the challenge, is how are we going to man it afterwards? How are we going to put maintenance people in there? Are they being trained through you guys right now, currently, with all these new systems being put in the walls, and then they're going to be closed up? So I think that's really what my concern driver is there's a lot of information that's being covered in these walls, and a lot of people should be being trained right now. And I don't know if that's the case or not, but I'm just very concerned on the maintenance of over 600,000 square feet in a building and only having one maintenance person.
We're working with the city on that, and we have been for years on getting everybody up to speed, because these new very efficient buildings are not as easy to run as old buildings.
They're extremely technical, and I think that as it goes on, you're just going to need somebody. If you maintain them correctly, they'll last longer before you need the big drive-in expenses that come with capital planning. I thank you guys again for your hard work. I want to thank Suffolk and yourself for always coming out here and giving us, straightforward progress. Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Councilor, I would agree. I think it also helps that, we have two Lowell people that are in charge of this project too, that they take pride not only in their work, but in the city that they're doing the work in. And I do put a lot of stock in, having Lowell people in charge of the job. Yes.
They're very responsive when you call them.
Much easier to
When
hold.
you read this, you have to call them to get your questions before you get to here. So I thank both of them for, answering their phones for me, and I thank the person in charge of the project also.
Just one quick question before I go to Councilor Belanger. So as of today, we're on time, we're on budget, and we're ready to finish the job.
That is correct.
Great. Thank you. Councilor Belanger.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for coming in this evening. I would call this report very encouraging as to where we are at approximately the halfway point in the project. I have also observed crews there on many Saturdays have been on hand to keep the project in appropriate timelines, and I think that's great. Although going forward, I do have concerns as to change orders as we get deeper into the project, and in particular the 1922 building for obvious reasons, being 100 some odd years old. So I'm assuming these change orders in front of us here this evening from the 1980 building, but even more so, I know it's early, but what do you envision going forward in the 1922 that this project stays on budget going forward?
Actually, when we started looking into the 1922 building and Suffolk was planning for Phase 3, there are actually two of the larger change orders do involve the 1922. All that flooring was in the 1922 building. The plaster was in the 1922 building, and we're proceeding cautiously. We're working with Suffolk. We're working with the architect. I know there was one issue that came up in the auditorium, in the ceiling, that was going to prove to be a costly item. We worked with one of Suffolk's superintendents who came up with a great idea. We ran it by the architect and came up with a solution that's probably going to cost nothing. When we first looked at it, we were looking at some large dollars. So the entire project team, Perkins Eastman, Suffolk, and Skanska are working closely, using all the resources we have to operate as efficiently as we can on the project.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Well, you have my utmost confidence of all the partners involved, and please keep this body informed as best you can. Thank you very much.
We will. Thank you.
Thank you. And, before I go to the manager, I have a couple members of the school committee also on the council. Will there be opportunity for a tour of the progress before school starts to get in there with any counselor or school committee that wants to check it out?
We've had that came up at the school building committee, and working through the manager. It's probably going to be the second week of September. We're just so down to the wire getting things done. I think it'd be best for the second week of September.
Perfect. Just let us know when.
Certainly.
Great. Thank you. Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through you to the council. I would recommend that as well. Having been there on Sunday, I think that Mr. Edwards, as well as Mr. Dodd, is doing a great job. Sunday, I had the chance to be over there with Mr. St. Cyr, Commissioner St. Cyr, and there's a lot going on, a lot of people, a lot of movement, and at more than one occasion, I even found myself being aware to just stay out of the way. So having a large contingent of people there may not be the idea of it. Maybe sometime mid-September. But I just want to caution everybody. I mean, we have gone to the daily completion checklist so that the administration, as well as everyone here in the city, we will know firsthand. As Mr. Dowd had stated, every day at 4 o'clock we'll be receiving this checklist that I'm actually looking at. And it's very basic, but it's keeping us on task to ensure that we are open on time. But I do want to say this one thing, having been involved in smaller, much smaller construction than something this massive, I wouldn't want to take this, when we do open, there will be a punch list. There will be a piece of painting in the corner that might be damaged or with the movement. So I wouldn't want anyone to think that everything is going to be perfect, as much as I believe the team is making that happen. That punch list before turnover is always challenging. So we've looked at this. I'm very optimistic. This council, as well as the administration, we have committed to a first-class high school. It will happen. It is going to happen. And I have to just say, even on Sunday, I think we counted 60-plus people hustling and working and cleaning things that will have to be cleaned again, quite frankly. But they're keeping up on everything. So I want to thank you very much for allowing us the opportunity just to get some eyes on it and get some comfort as to where we're going to go. But once again, on that day of that turnover, I just want to be clear to what I know, and I'm quite confident the team would say the same thing. There might be a piece of molding out of place, but that's a punch list that we'll be dealing with.
There could be some
throughout
painted plywood.
Yeah.
There could be some
Right.
Temporary paving if a couple sidewalks we don't get, but the school will be open.
Great. So thank you very much, Mr. Dow.
Thank you very much, the three of you. Thank you.
Manager. Thank you.
Moving on to, actually, where are we here? Yeah. There's a motion by Councilor Mercia to take 8.6 out of order of vote, second by Councilor Yem. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 8.6, vote to authorize city manager to execute MOU with Wynn Development. Motion to adopt by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Robinson. Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. My apologies. Thank you very much. And thank you very much to the council for allowing us to move forward with this. I would like to ask Mr. Panagiotakis, or who would be coming up, Mr. O'Brien, to run through a quick piece. Council has looked at this. This MOU is just, once again, the beginning of where we're going to be. The LDA would still need to be put together. Council has been brought up to speed. Mr. O'Brien, if you could just run us through a few things, and welcome here to the City Council, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Certainly thank you, Mr. Mayor, and members of council, as well as the city administration. I'm Michael O'Brien, Executive Vice President with Wynn Companies, here representing Gilbert Wynn, our CEO, as well as Larry Curtis, our Development President. Honored and humbled to be before you here tonight to talk about another fabulous partnership between Wynn Companies and the City of Lowell. I'm here tonight with Hagop Togramagian, who's our Project Director and Development General Counsel for Wynn Development. I'm also here, as you mentioned, with the great son of Lowell, Steve Panagiotakis. Together with the city, we've created over 750 high-quality apartment homes here in downtown, reviving historic structures and factories into new uses, and constructing from the ground up a new multifamily community within the Hamilton Canal Innovation District, 201 Canal. All of our premier residential communities here in Lowell are, on average, at 95% or more as to occupancy. Our most recent 201 Canal is was fully leased up in 3 months, some 5 months ahead of schedule, and there are 440 applicants for the 201 Canal wait list if and when apartments become available. Each and every challenge in these success stories were overcome by shared goals and shared vision between the city and Wynn. As you know, at Wynn Companies, we develop housing with that partnership approach, and it continues through to our ownership and management of these communities forever and a day. We do not build and flip or cash out on a property once financially stabilized. We're here for the long term as long-term owners, managers, neighbors, and active members of the community. We're bullish on Lowell. We moved our finance and accounting division, it's a national footprint for that, here to Lowell from your suburb to the south, Boston, Mass. And that continues to be one of the best decisions we've made for the operations of our company. Our venture together, our next venture together, if this mixed use, mixed income development on parcels 11 and 12, the first step is approved by City Council within the HCID. I believe before you is our memorandum of understanding for the steps necessary to get parcels 11 and 12 project from dream to reality. The city manager and DPD team, led by Giovanni Baez-Rose, must be complimented for their tough, respectful, and fair negotiations. The details of this MOU are very aptly before you, and we are here to express our enthusiasm for this next partnership with you and to assist in any questions and clarifications. Per the MOU, parcels 11 and 12 will have 125 units. About 60% of that will be one bedroom, 30% of that will be two bedroom, and 10% of that will be three bedroom. There will be up to 40% of the apartments as affordable housing, 30% at market, and 30% at workforce. And depending on this unit size, rents would range from about $750 to $1,000 at 30% AMI, $1,500 to $2,100 at 60% AMI, and about $2,500 to $3,000 for workforce units. And we do include 5,000 square feet or more for a restaurant, and that'll be pre-positioned with all the infrastructure per code for required venting, et cetera, for that restaurant space. And so with that, look forward to any questions, comments, or concerns relative to this MOU.
Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Counsel Noon.
Yes.
Counsel Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Scott. Counsel Yem.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Chow.
Yes.
Counsel Dakota.
Yes.
Counsel Gitchia.
Yes.
Counsel Janess.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
10 yeas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on. Yep. Section 6, City Council motion. 6.1, Council Noon requests City Manager to direct Department of Planning and Development to share Phase 2 of the Roberto Clemente Park Master Plan with the Cambodian Town Business Community. Second by Council Yem. Council Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, a simple request. I've got a lot of call the last couple of weeks from the business communities about the proposed narrow down the road in between, in front of that the island. So, if you could, please have DPD or somebody from the maybe a list from a traffic engineer meet up with the business community at CMAA. Maybe CMAA can reach out to all the business community. I can help as well. Pick a date so that we can meet with them and hear their concern, a serious concern, because it certainly is going to impact on their parking. Parking not during the business, but also at function at the pilot restaurants. If you can do that, maybe in the next couple of weeks, it would be great. Thank you.
Mr. Manager, we had a motion a little while back to update all the different projects, correct? We should be getting that soon. Mr. Manager?
Mr. Mayor, through to the council, that should be before the end of this month at our next council meeting.
Great.
So that very well could be included in that, and but we will be meeting with the business community as well, Council.
Councilor Robinson?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to combine motion 6.2 with motion 6.3 if possible.
Back to 6.1. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Motion by Councilor Robinson to take 6.2 and 6.3 combined. Second by Councilor Noon. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 6.2. Request City Manager work with CFO to find a way to assist LTC with the current financial struggle. 6.3. Councilor Robinson, Councilor Noon request City Manager explore possible partnership opportunities with Middlesex Community College, Lowell Career Center, Youth Build LTC, and any other interested stakeholders with the goal of providing vocational training opportunities in the area of media production. No second needed. Who wants to go?
There's a registered speaker on both items, Mr. Mayor. Adam McHugh.
Hello, thank you. I want to just say, first of all, I appreciate this motion and the sentiment behind it, because it's obviously a good one and it's exceptionally well intentioned. I will say this: I don't have a whole lot to say about this right now, but there are some things that we're certainly working on, some partnerships that we have that are in the works with the school district and other organizations as well. I was actually just at a meeting with other people that are in public access at Methuen TV the Alliance for Community Media, which is a national organization, their president, Mike Wazenar, was there, and just kind of a listening session, kind of trying to get the temperature check of what's going on in our area for public access. And I can tell you this, we're not alone in this problem. The dwindling franchise fees are not just a statewide phenomena, not just a Lowell phenomena, but a national phenomena. And there's obviously a lot of concern in the public access world about that. One of the things that I mentioned at that meeting, just to kind of to share, is this position that I took over. This is the first time I've worked as a nonprofit executive director in this field, but I've worked for 15 years in public access in a municipal setting. So I was a municipal employee for most of the time that I've done this. So the nonprofit part of this world is a little bit new to me, and I did say that I think that we're kind of an odd nonprofit. We get our funding, we have it come in, most of it's the franchise fees. The one thing we do a poor job of in our industry, not just saying that it's all our fault, but the nonprofit models don't do an exceptional job of development and grant writing and those sort of things. So that's another avenue that we're exploring. But it's certainly on the forefront of our minds, obviously, when we're talking about our finances going down. I think it was 28% since 2018, and probably going to be going down another 6 to 7% if the curve keeps going the same direction, just from this past year to next year alone. So I just want to say I appreciate the motion, and I'm interested to get to work to figure this out as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This motion came about, and it was just hit on the head. A 28% decline in franchise fees, for whatever reason. We all pretty much agree that this is a valuable service that they provide, something very valuable for our community. So the spirit of this motion is basically, let's look at how can we expand. They just passed community colleges free now. I know Middlesex has a communications program that they've had established for quite some time. As was mentioned, the high school, they do some of this communication stuff as well in media production. I think Youth Build, the Career Center, any other organizations out there, vocational school, if there's a way that we can pull partners in that are offering these kind of educational opportunities, and if there's a way to work with LTC as pretty much hands-on classroom space, maybe that's how we look together as a community to make up this 28% plus a potential maybe 6 to 7% decline in franchise fees. A little bit from a bunch of different organizations goes a long way, and it helps to keep providing this service to our community, to the residents, and anything the city might be able to do as well, I think is something that we should all keep in our minds as well. I just think I'd hate to see such a valuable service in the community diminish as a result of the franchise fees alone. If there's anything we can do and step up to help this organization out, I would fully support it. Thank you.
Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to add on to Councilor Robinson, we all know that especially the CFO who are working on the budget, that the franchise fee from Verizon is going down every year, while they do more than just airing and taping meeting, council meetings, school committees, and so on and so forth. They do more than that. We need to do what we can to help them. I know that the directors of LTC mentioned grant as part of a lot of nonprofit. They do go after grant. A partnership with, as Councilor Robinson indicated, with MCC, with the school, low high schools, or low career centers and whatnot, is one way to look at grant and strengthening that proposal to help getting some funding to help support it. When I file a motion, working with the CFO, I meant it in a way that because the CFO is very good at doing so and meeting and giving idea to organizations. Just look at the library. Years ago, as the library was struggle, I said, Can you do something? Can you work with the library to help making sure that their funding every year is at least 5-year funding sustained? And he did just that. So maybe there's another way that, the directors of LTCs meet with our CFOs and giving idea, even if no funding, we don't have money to do so, at least giving idea how to better, where we're looking at those funding to help them, because we need them for our program. And our community need them too, because all this, the hosts of a lot of multi-language hosts use them all the time to giving information from the city or from their community to the community. So it's important that we do what we can to help them. Thank you.
Councilor Dakota and Councilor Mercer. Councilor Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. McCune, ask you to come up. You caught my attention. You had said you had spoken to other communities, and the possibility of a grant or hiring a grant writer. Is that something that would? It seems to me that would be something that would help you out tremendously with a full-time grant writer. Is that the path you're going to go down, or?
Yeah, absolutely. And a little background: my wife actually worked as a development director for a nonprofit in New Hampshire for about 12 years. So, she was kind of telling me a little bit about how that worked. And in a perfect world, the development director, grant writer, trying to get fundraising, that sort of thing, essentially pays for themselves and then some, and then adds to the bottom line. So it's absolutely something I would explore. I believe we had a grant writer at one point on retainer, as I've gone through.
I don't think it was a full-time, though.
No, it was a service type thing.
Right.
Yep.
I would advocate for something like that.
That's a good idea.
I think there's some money there that could be made.
Yep.
Thank you.
Councilor Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hate to throw a wrench in the wheels, and I appreciate the fact that there's a company that is delivering a public access to the residents in the city to see what's going on in their government. That is truly democracy at its best. And I don't want to throw blame at anybody, but this is an opportunity whereby I don't know how to address this other than to say that when we have a hot topic on the council floor and I can't see the meeting, but I go home and I get 5 calls on my answering machine that says, I'm so frustrated with LTC because the picture froze, the screen froze, just as so-and-so, Councilor so-and-so was saying something very important, the picture froze. And I don't know how to correct that, and I like to help people that are doing the best they can. I don't know where this problem lies, but if we could correct that so that I don't have to go home and hear 5 people, rightfully so, very frustrated because they missed the whole segment of the person that was speaking. So I don't blame anybody, but I wish that situation could be corrected. I'm not a technical person. I don't know where that comes from, but it's frustrating. People like to get the whole picture, and they tune in and they don't get it. So that's my beef. Other than that, I just had to say it. Thank you.
Councilor Gitcha.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Through you to Mr. McCune. When I was in charge of the water department, it was our job to go search for grants and try to find them and write them. They're really not that difficult to find. And I just wonder, have you guys looked for grants, and have you tried to write them with the staff you currently have at all?
Yeah, there have been some grants. Actually, before I came on board, there was a pretty sizable one that was staff had worked on. In the meantime, we've only had a few smaller ones that we've gotten.
Have you ever tried to write one?
Have I tried to write
Yeah.
one? No, I have not.
I think if you talk to those other communities that are getting the grants, it's within the director. I think it's something that's pretty straightforward. They're really not that hard. They sound so difficult to do, but when they're out there, they're pretty readily available on just the basis of what the description is that you put there. They're pretty straightforward when you write them. I did it for the water department. When we were there, we started searching energy grants because the energy at the water department was out of control. And could we offset some of those costs? And could we get some variable speed drives up there that we could actually use to offset some of the costs? So we looked them up, and we just basically typed something out, ran it by the manager's office, and it came back with money. I think that's the avenue, as Councilor Dakota came up with and said, I don't think we need to hire more people. I think we need to do more what we currently have. And I think you can do it pretty straightforward with, if you just search the state website, you'll find all these grants that are out there for that type of work, what you do.
If I may, I know you mentioned ARPA funding earlier, and as that money has kind of dried up, I think you have a much more competitive situation for grants for nonprofits in the state. They're all kind of going for the same ones now. You're not wrong. This is something that we absolutely need to do. But
if we don't throw the ball, we can't strike somebody out. So we have to get in, and we're in a city that has challenges with finances. So if you don't throw a ball, you can't win a game. So we have to get in the game and start trying to get these grants in by writing them in-house and trying to bring in that revenue. I think there's a revenue source in it, and I believe that staff over there, you certainly can find those grants and write them and get some money in quick. Thank you.
I got a quick question for you, Mr. Kuhn. How much does LTC get per subscription?
I don't know that off the top of my head. The franchise fee is between 3 and 5% of gross revenues in the city of Lowell. So that's negotiated.
And I know it was years ago, and I was over there, and they, somewhere around 45 cents per script, right?
Yeah, it's not a whole lot, but it's something along those lines.
Right,
yeah.
but Mr. Manager, isn't that controlled by the state, the legislature?
Yes, it is, Mr. Mayor.
Do you have any idea when the last time that increased, that number? Was it in your time before you left?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the council, that's always been a contention. It's something that we could look at to ask the legislature to enact. So the major problem that we have right here is people are obviously cutting the cord. And I want to tell you your business, you know this inside and out. But there is a fee that is attached to everyone's bill from Comcast, Verizon, or whatever the case may be. And the percentage, Mr. Mayor, could be in that dollar figure. That dollar figure hasn't been changed in some time. And as obviously subscriptions go down from the largest two, which would be Comcast and Verizon, this is what's causing the problem over at LTC. A remedy could be to ask the legislature to increase that.
Right, so I think, Mr. Manager, what I was thinking was maybe it's okay with Councilors Robinson and Noon that the council writes a letter to the state delegation looking to maybe increase the fees that we get. Yes?
If I may, there is something in the state legislature right now. I actually don't know the exact status of this, but there is a bill to effectively take streaming services and take a percentage of streaming services and bring them to kind of fill this gap.
But what about cable?
What's that?
What about cable?
It would it's the same essential services. So that cable that derives internet, they're taking streaming services like Netflix and Prime and take a percentage of that and bring it back to public access. That is in the works. Massachusetts would be the first state to do that.
So I use streaming, right? So I just go onto the internet and put in LTC and I watch it that way. How do you get money out of that?
We don't.
You do, right. So I'm saying, my suggestion to write a letter asking to increase the fees through cable subscriptions. I mean, if you want to say no to that, we won't do it. But it looks like you want some more money, right?
Absolutely.
All right, yeah.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilor Jess, go ahead.
If I may, I know that one source of the revenue that they get from Comcast is purely based on the television subscriptions that Comcast has in the city. Currently, anyone who just has internet, there's no fee collected that gets sent to LTC. So I think in that letter that we're putting together, we may suggest to the legislature to add a fee to just internet subscribers with Comcast, Verizon, and the other providers to fill this gap as a way to plug the hole a little bit.
So a couple of things here, Mr. Kuhn, okay? First of all, you can start your writing career, all right? Putting something together, what we just talked about, right? Increasing the cable subscription fees, even if it goes up 10, 15 cents, right? I'm sure that's going to make a difference. And then with the streaming, services or on the computer. Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
Okay. And Mr. Manager, could we reach out to, I don't know, to the board or to Mr. McCune here to get this started, and we can send it off to the State House?
Mr. Mayor, through to the council, yes, that is correct. It's not necessarily the cable fee, but it's a streaming fee. So people who have cut the cord that are only simply using Comcast or Verizon to stream and not use, the black box, right? That's at your house. That's already paying a fee towards LTC. The folks who are not paying a fee are the people that are using Roku. That's about my extent of my knowledge on that. So, Fire Sticks, Roku, and et cetera. So that's the portion where everybody is moving and getting away from the cord, as they call it. They're cutting the cord, so therefore their revenue is going into the negative, as it has been for quite some time. And what the legislature, in my opinion, would need to do is to use the online services as a way to fund this, because this would be something, and it's going to be a trick to do. But if we're trying to keep local cable, LTC, if we're trying to keep local cable, not just here in Lowell, Massachusetts, but 351 cities and towns, the argument was always to look at the streaming side of things. So I think there's Mr. Mayor, if the question is, we can take 6.2 and 6.3, we can have a discussion and put a letter together to present to the council, if that's what you're asking, sir.
Motion by Council Robinson, second by Council Noon.
Yes, please, Mr. Mayor.
All those in favor say aye. Council Gitche, go ahead.
Can we do a roll call on that?
Sure.
Because I personally am against raising cable rates at all. I think if they lowered their rates, more people would stay in the market. But so that's just, I get what you're saying, but.
I think more people are leaving cable because of the cost.
Exactly.
And so, if you want to swallow up LTC, that's one thing, but.
Those CEOs are making so much money, it's crazy.
Well, you want to send a letter to them too? I'm just why not?
Roll call.
Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Council Noon.
Yeah.
Council Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Council Scott. Council Yem.
Yes.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
Council Chow.
Yes.
Council Dakota.
No.
Council Gitchia.
No.
Council Janess.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
6.4, Council Robinson requests City Manager have the proper department explore opportunities to create an outdoor basketball complex in Centerville that includes murals on surfaces, roofs with lighting, scoreboards, courts. Seconded by Councilor Noon. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. I brought this forward because we've been talking about trying to get murals done on courts. I know in Phase 1 of the St. Louis Overhaul, basketball courts are slated as part of that Phase 1 project. I believe spring of 2025 is when it's slated to break ground. So I figured it's a good opportunity to bring it forward for a conversation. Are there any, I spoke to briefly Jess Wilson at the Centerville Neighborhood Group about this. I believe in Phase 1 they are looking to do not necessarily murals, but different kind of paint that would reflect the heat off of the surface of the playing courts, maybe in a different pattern or something. But I know there's been discussion also of maybe doing away with one of the ball fields over there, which would, be a staging area or something once construction starts. A lot of communities are moving to, especially we're seeing the temperatures a lot warmer, and they're moving to some kind of covering over courts, which would allow people, 5, 6 p.m. to come out in the summer, especially when the kids are out of school, and play without direct sun still beating on them. And also if it rains, it provides some kind of protection. And they're seeing some are going to solar panels on top of those roofs with that enough to power the lights underneath on the scoreboard. So any kind of consideration to those kind of improvements to the court that's part of Phase 1 would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 6.5, Council Robinson requests City Manager of the proper department provide an update on additional speed bump installation locations in Centerville. Seconded by Council Mercer. Council Robinson.
Thank you. I thought the traffic engineer, Ms. Altman, explained there was going to be 2 locations. I know Billings is completed. It's been completed for quite some time, and I think it's serving to accomplish what we set out to do. And I thought there was a second location, so I was just looking for any other updates in the near future or maybe next year that they're planning. Thank you.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. This is a very interesting topic that every council has talked about. The temporary ones on buildings will be pulled up, as everybody knows, but it's one of the things that we will be answering in 2 more weeks. I believe Liz Altman will be here, but it's giving us a taste. As everybody knows, we're spending approximately $2.75 million on our horizontal construction on our roadways. We've quadrupled that, as everybody knows, due to this council. But doing this experiment is giving us the ability to possibly, when we start to resurface roadways, to put those in permanently. So that's what we've been looking at, and offline at some point, I'd love to hear the council's opinion on this. We can talk about it offline, but I'm hearing so many good things about the temporary speed bumps that we've put over in South Lowell, over in Centerville, et cetera, that it's leading the transportation engineer as well as the administration to believe that this is something, as we're redoing roadways, we should be indicating. Now, we do have some issues. We have to pay attention to our fire department to ensure that whatever we're putting in is something that is acceptable. We don't want to get into a situation where an emergency vehicle needs to get someplace in a fast manner and cannot do that or needs to slow down. So this is an exciting opportunity, and the money was well worth spent as we put those in over on Billing Street. Well, actually, maybe you and everyone else, I kind of watched a little bit. But so that's something hopefully we'll have back to you for in 2 weeks from now.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 6.6, Council Robinson, request city manager have the property department explore the feasibility of the city moving to a bid process for concession stand operations for next season. Seconded by Council Mercier, Council Robinson.
Thank you. This motion, I received some calls on, and I want to be very clear. This motion by no means is it meant to harm any of our youth activities, youth athletics. I mean, that's something that's been around since day one in the city, and it's something that I've always advocated for is providing positive recreational opportunities for our youth. This is looking at a bigger picture. As a municipality, we're unable to charge a fee for a lot of things. We're looking to expand in many areas with concessions and restrooms and different facilities throughout our green space, open space improvements utilizing ARPA. Again, it's going to be more coming on to our responsibilities, financial responsibilities for the long-term maintenance, upkeep, and all of that comes along with it. We've been fortunate to have partners like the vocational school, Youth Build, to step up and fix dugout roofs and all other things. This is something I'm looking at that a lot of other communities are starting to move towards. And I think it serves a double purpose. I think, A, with a bid opportunity, any revenue generated for these locations could go into an account that would be for the continued maintenance and upkeep of these facilities, these concession stands, these restrooms that we're putting at the ballparks. B, it gives a small economic development boost to some of the members in the community. We see shared space retail pop up is being utilized and it's popular, and so as a result, what are we doing? We're looking to increase more shared space opportunities. This could be something along those lines where, working with our youth athletics, sit them down and see what is the schedule that they need these concession stands, and maybe go out to bid outside of the hours they need it, because the money they generate helps to keep the costs low or next to nothing for our youth to participate. But it's not utilized. So if residents are walking the track at Shed Park, and we went out to bid at the concession stand, say up there, 9 a.m., if the leagues aren't using it at those times, why can't you stop in and grab a muffin and a coffee while you're out there walking? Or why can't some kids that are over at the Splash Park, or a family goes to Splash Park, if there's not a baseball game going on, go over to the concession stand and grab a Gatorade and a hot dog for the kid? Or, I mean, it creates an opportunity to provide services or expand on services provided outside of what our youth sports is already doing with concession stands, because the buildings aren't going anywhere and they're sitting empty a lot of hours in a day within a 24-hour period. So I think any kind of consideration to look at a process like this, New York City, they created a whole concessionaires program where They bring people in from the community. They make sure they get their ServSafe certifications and all these other trainings. And now they have 400 site locations where they bid out concession responsibilities. MBTA, another organization that has found foot traffic, open space areas, and they allow bidding opportunities for concessionaires. So I think it's something to look at and be mindful of. Please involve youth sports and keep them at the table for these conversations. Thank you.
Councilor Yam?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When I read the motion, I wasn't sure concession stand for what now it sounds like for all the city-owned ballparks. My question to you, to the manager, Mr. Mayor, is that how do concession stand who operate it now? How do they get the license to operate it? The concession stand right now, currently, how do they get the permit? Do we go through a process or something?
Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Given, for instance, say Shed Park, as we were talking about that, Lowell Baseball runs that. And we've given them that opportunity, obviously, to essentially raise money to help the leagues. So it would be in different areas, up at Finn Field, for instance, Centerville Baseball, but now is all into Lowell Baseball. So those are the folks that would run those. They do have the ability to, I know that our health department is always paying attention to this to make sure that everything is served, but a lot of times what they're serving is Coke, water, actually not even Coke, Gatorade, water, et cetera, and things that are packaged, wrapped, or maybe pizza. So I think what we're looking at is potentially utilizing the parks in a different time frame. You can take any park you wish, and trying to see if there's an ability to offer small business and another small business an opportunity to have a coffee stand simultaneously. Maybe, I don't want to put words in the council's mouth, but I think that's what I heard him saying. So right now, those are used for primarily baseball, softball. Those are the ones that utilize those parks 90, I'd probably say 100% of the time.
Right.
Except, well, no, I was wrong. The soccer field over at Edwards Field, they have the same type of situation.
I have the same, if I may follow up, I have the same request because right now the North Common Park is being renovated, and then we're also looking at creating concession stand. So I have someone asking me if I want to be the vendor for that concession stand, you know, where do I go, who do I speak with? So I refer them to talk to the city, and then so if you could just, you know, follow up on that, that would be greatly.
Thank you. Again, this mural, I think it came out amazing. It was one of its first kind, I think, where a neighborhood group utilized a grant and provided a piece of public art in the community, kind of worked through it and the do's and don'ts of it. I think now the only thing missing could be potentially illuminating it if possible. And I mean, especially we're heading into the fall and it'll be getting lighter sooner. And coming over the Aiken Street Bridge, we already have that well lit thanks to the organizations that stepped up for that. If there was a way to light this mural, I think that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 6.8, Councilor Robinson, request City Manager of the Property Department provide an update on any and all plans regarding the old district and Superior Courthouses. Seconded by Councilor Charles. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. Motion speaks for itself.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 6.9, Councilor Dinesh, request City Manager work with the Property Department to explore the implementation of a trial program to allow garage pass card holders the opportunity to pay for an additional parking pass to park a small trailer in a city garage. Seconded by Councilor Noon. Mr. Clerk.
Speaker, John Hawkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Councilors. My name is John Hawkins, longtime resident of downtown Lowell. I live at 240 Jackson Street. I'm here to present agenda number 6.9. And thank you, Wayne Gensis, for this. In essence, I'm an avid kayak fisherman, and I need to park a small trailer in a city garage. And that's what we're here to talk about, is a pilot program that would allow citizens like me to park a small trailer. We've drafted a policy, and we'd like to implement this policy. It's a policy that balances, first and foremost, safety of the folks that drive around the garage, but also the needs of citizens who have this unique need. I almost feel guilty because of all the amazing work that we heard about tonight, but I am here to ask for this. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Wayne, for having the courage to take up my cause.
Councilor Janess?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, John, for coming down and speaking in favor of this tonight, and thanks for reaching out and talking to me about this. Basically, what we're looking for here is the parking department to take a look and see about the feasibility of doing something like this to give residents and maybe even business owners who pay for parking in the downtown garages to possibly be able to park a small trailer of a prescribed size. We're not looking for anything big. In one of the garages, maybe we use one of the lower utilized garages, like lower locks or something, and start small. Issue 10 permits or something in the first year. Just see how it works out, see what works, see what doesn't, and iterate off of that. I think this is an opportunity to expand the revenue that the Parking Enterprise Fund is pulling in, as well as meet the needs of downtown residents and downtown businesses who may need to do something like this in a way that you currently can't. There's nowhere to park a trailer like this in the downtown. This is just creating an opportunity to potentially provide another service that might be beneficial. I will forward the draft policy that John wrote up to the manager and actually the whole council if anyone would like to read it and have any comments on it. I think it's a good starting spot for us. John put a lot of work into it, so thank you, John, and I look forward to hearing what the administration has to say. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 610, Councilor Janess, request city manager have proper department examine resurfacing the adult education driveway between the Smith Baker Center and the adult education building. Seconded by Councilor Belanger. Councilor Janess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This came to me by someone reached out and told me that the driveway is causing issues with the dumpsters being picked up, apparently. It's very difficult for the dumpsters to be moved around and then for the waste company to come in and lift the dumpsters up and then put them back where they belong. So I just wanted to draw some attention to this and see if we can get this looked at and possibly on the list to be addressed in the near term. Thank you.
All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 611, Councilor Janess, request city manager work with the new elections director to prepare a report to the council assessing our readiness for the upcoming elections, along with any short and or long-term actions that can be taken by the council to ensure that all Lowell voters can be certain that their votes will be counted. Second by Councilor Noon. Councilor Janess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This motion came out of discussions we had with the former elections director at our last meeting, where some concern was expressed about the ability to count all the mail-in ballots and the resources needed to do that, as well as further discussion that was had with a local media outlet by the former election director, where it was commented on that a large number of the mail-in ballots from the last municipal election went uncounted for various reasons. I think it's a good time with a fresh set of eyes in the elections office to really kind of take stock of all our policies, our procedures, our capacity, and to prepare a report for us, the council, but also for the public in general, that kind of lays out what our capabilities are, what challenges we have, and what actions we as a council can take to facilitate this work that is really the foundation of our government and everything we do. So that's pretty much it. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 612, Councilor Janess, request city manager have the proper department analyze the recently enacted affordable homes law to begin the process of updating our zoning code to be compliant with the new regulations. Seconded by Councilor Noon. Councilor Janess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion speaks for itself.
All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 613, Council Belanger, Council Mercia. Request City Manager to have DPD explore launching an initiative throughout the downtown business district to work with property owners for installation of solar-powered and motion-activated exterior lighting in an effort to increase safety. No second needed. Council Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to say the motion speaks for itself. It almost does, but I just want to say that I think this is a pretty good idea when you have, and then we're referring this like solar lighting in alleyways downtown. Whether we realize it or not, people are dumping mattresses in alleyways, and everything that they can think of is being tossed in alleyways. And people that reside downtown or have businesses downtown, they realize that this is happening. But if we put some sort of sensor and someone goes in and realizes that they're going to be illuminated and lit up like they're in a spotlight, maybe the word would spread and they'd know that you're not going to get away with this. People are watching you, and the minute it's activated, it stops people from doing their deed. So I think this is a pretty good motion. This came to us from a constituent, Sean Harmon. He was going to come here and speak, but I guess something came up. But he had a great idea when he presented this. Sometimes, most of the time, good ideas don't come from the council. It comes from people that are residents that realize that things are happening, and they make a motion such as this. So I think we could explore this to some degree and see if that would be possible to do that within the downtown. Councilor Belanger and I heard from the same gentleman, and this is why we have a dual motion. So I would refer to my colleague, Councilor Belanger.
Councilor Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councilor Mercia. Yes, as Councilor Mercia explained, this stems from a decade in the making downtown business owner, and being one myself in the past, there's really a need for this, and it could very well expand into the neighborhoods, into other business corridors, Bridge Street or Route 38, whatever it may be. But the problem is in the downtown, in my opinion, is that the lighting down there is inadequate, and it has been. I think many years ago, when we installed the lighting, those black, old-fashioned style of lighting with the globe on top was put there more with respect to historic significance than it was to create lighting. And therefore, we have a lighting problem, in my opinion, that is inadequate. And I think this would help greatly. If we could convince property owners to do this, and city-owned properties, I think it would have a very, very positive effect. You won't get an electric bill. I mean, it's a one-time cost item. There's no doubt it's a complex motion. It's going to take a collaborative effort from DPD, Inspectional Services, Lowell Police, to achieve. But in the end, if accomplished, I think it'll be very beneficial. So, asking my colleagues for support. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Getcha.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Through you to Manager Golden, is there historical significance why? Is there a certain type of bulb that can only be used down there? Can it go to an LED or something that illuminates more down there? Can we look into that and see? Because I think that's probably another issue, as Councilor Belanger just pointed out, is maybe it's still we're using a certain type of bulb, but now we can get a more efficient bulb that gives you a better lighting down there through like an LED or something. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 614, Council Belanger requests City Manager to provide an update regarding CSO and flooding issues in Belvedere at the Douglas and Wynwood Road areas. Second by Councilor Getcha, second Councilor Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a problem that spans decades. And last year in particular was one of the worst down there with all the rain we had last season. For these residents where, I know Councilor Gitchie was on hand on many occasions, Councilor Mercia. We witnessed many testimonies from residents as to, in some cases, sewage coming back up. So this needs to be rectified for these residents, for sure. So we've been the beneficiary of a dry summer spring and summer thus far, but winter is approaching, and through you to the manager, I'm looking to see, Mr. Manager, what we have in store for these folks for some remedies. So, look, as they are they are watching in. Thank you very much.
Councilor Getchia.
And thank you again, Mr. Mayor. Council Belanger brings up something very interesting over there in both his motions, 14 and 15, because I know that 15 ties right into it because we were supposed to put a holding tank in Colley Stadium's parking lot. Do we know where we are on that project? Are we close? Are we far away? Because I thought it was supposed to be the summer of 2024 that we were going to start putting that in. Through you to Manager Golden.
Is this for 6:15?
14. But they kind of, it relates.
Sure, okay. All the favor, 6:14, all the favor say aye, opposed, motion passes. 6:15. We'll get to Eric, I think makes sense?
Yeah, I just have that one question.
Yes.
Yeah, where are we on that?
Mr. Manager, you want to answer Councilor Getchia's question now, please?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. We will be having an update on that. We are traveling down that road, as everybody knows, but it's something that we're looking at for sidewalks in that area as well. There are, the road is in very bad shape, as we know. We're trying to figure out how we can expend, I believe it's a 1.7 million gallon tank, which would be in the Colley Stadium area, which would then push us to upgrade the actual Colley Stadium parking lot. So it's kind of a lot of pieces going on with this. It's not just the CSO, it is actually the roadway, it is actually potential for sidewalks and correcting the area, pretty much from windward up to the school, and then windward down to Colley Stadium. This is it's a pretty complex situation, and we're going to be bringing in an update. I just can't say exactly when that's happening.
I thought last time when we were at the Riley School, it was supposed to be
2020.
Summer 2024, we were going to start installing the holding tank. And
summer of 2025. It's 2024 right now. Summer of 2024 now.
But we did it, I thought it was last fall. Last
we're
summer,
trying to
basically, we had that conversation, no?
We're trying to put this on tap for summer of 2025. That's our hope. But this is this is more complicated than people would think, as you would think, 1.7 million. So I think with 614 and 615, if it's the will of the councilors, the entire council, we can put together an informational on both of those to get the dates, if that's okay with Councilor Belanger.
In the morning, I'll reach back out to you, and I just have a couple questions about the studies over there and just flow rates and stuff, that's all.
Sure.
I'll give you a call in the morning.
6:15, Councilor Belanger requests city manager provide an update regarding Colley Stadium complex upgrades, seconded by Councilor Mercia. Councilor Belanger.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, thank you to Councilor Getchia for the clarification on that. As to the vision is for the holding tank is the Colley Stadium parking lot, but I also, I've been hearing from residents and coaches of the facility alike, and they have concerns as to the condition of the parking lot as it states and what we have in store for them, as well as the fields. Soccer field needs a little attention, I understand. So what is the plan? The city has spent a lot of money up there, and maintenance is very important that we maintain that facility for future generations. So looking to see that plan as well. So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
You want to send 14 and 15 to a neighborhood subcommittee? This could be lengthy, informational stuff, Councilor Belanger.
Sure. Yeah.
By Councilor Belanger,
Motion.
second by Councilor Getchia, to send 614 and 615 to a neighborhood services subcommittee. Mr. Manager, you reach out, let them know that report's ready to go. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 616, Councilor Getchia requests city manager to provide an update on the line painting process for school areas and zones prior to the start of the school year. Second by Councilor Robertson. Councilor Getchia.
And through you to Manager Gold, and I'm sure this is on your to-do list. Just as you drive around the city, we're getting really close to the school year. Do we have an outline where we're going to start doing these areas? Because I took a ride through the city the other day, and really none of them are done. And I'm just wondering, are the crosswalks going to be done going across some of these streets? And maybe I didn't get to certain ones that you see are done, but if we can just get to these crosswalks, maybe next week, hopefully the weather holds out so that we can at least get them, like Stephen Street, you see, the Riley School, that area, Douglas, a lot of them just could be freshened up before the kids start to go across, and even Andover Street where they start to come in. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 617, Council Getchia requests city manager provide the city council with an update on the mold issue at the Pawtucket Memorial School and any effect it will have on the start of the school year at the Pawtucket Memorial School. Seconded by Councilor Dakota. Councilor Getchia.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. And Mayor Rourke, you understand this challenge as well as all of us. When you get these phone calls and they just keep coming, I would love to take a walk through there tomorrow with Manager Golden if we can get the okay from the school superintendent, because there's still issues over there, we're being told, and we're getting close to the point, and I don't want to go too far into what the issues are, but if you had time in your schedule at some point this week, if we could just take a quick walk through and see if we can verify what people are telling us or not. That's all.
Saw trucks there this weekend. So
yeah.
Councilor Dakota.
Thank you, Mr.
Someone's
Mayor.
there.
I might have jumped the gun on Councilor Getchia. I actually made this motion 3 weeks ago, City Manager Golden. I'm just waiting on a report, but in that interim, I've received numerous calls from staff at the Pawtucket Memorial. So I took it upon myself to take a self-tour this morning at the Pawtucket Memorial. And to be quite frank, I was a bit frustrated. I'm not a mold expert. I don't pretend to be. But there was mold in some of these classrooms. And the first one I took a look was 1071. And it was plain to see that nothing had been done to that classroom. We have 500 students that are going to be attending school in 2 weeks at that school. We've got about 5 or 6 classrooms that have mold in it. If I was a teacher and I had to teach there today, I wouldn't have entered that classroom. So I agree with Councilor Getchia. Maybe a tour of some of the colleagues like to go over there and take a look with city manager and maybe Commissioner St. Cyr and find out, we got to correct this problem. We cannot go through what we went last year on the first day of school. We just cannot do that. So I think this needs to take precedence, City Manager. This is something that, like I said, I'm not a mold expert, but there was definitely mold there on some of this. 1072 had paint chips coming down from the top of the wall. We can't paint walls. So I think we need to make this as safe as the other schools in the district. It's not fair to the Pawtucket Memorial and the students and staff and the families. So I appreciate your attention to the matter. Thank you.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through the council. Council, we're looking at this, Council Dakota, as you would put forward. We have third-party testing that has been in there, and we're awaiting their reports. But we also have been proactive in the sense of spending close to $1 million over there, and I'm just reading off the removal and replacement of some of the chiller, as well as improvements to all the key distribution equipment. There's been a lot of things that have been happening over there, and similar to what we're doing at the high school is my hope that in the next week and a half, we have demoed and condemned some of the condemned equipment. We replaced all the exhaust fans, and the new controls have been completed. The retro commission of the air handling units is currently in progress. Service of all classrooms, HVAC equipment is taking place now, and I'm wondering if it just hasn't taken place where you were, Councilor. And the cleaning of all the ductworks is actually getting underway this week. I can check tomorrow and actually update the entire council, as well as Councilor Dakota, since you had originally put this in, to make sure that does happen. But there are there's a lot going on. But once again, the third-party testing has been, it happened, and we're just waiting for that to come back to us. So we will have a clear indication of what is happening. This is on the front burner, per se. But I just didn't want anyone to think that we haven't been doing anything over there. Once again, this is a report that I should be able to generate probably prior to our next council meeting, just because school is
Actually, our next council meeting is the first day of school.
It's the first day of school. So probably
I
might
just
be.
want to make sure that Commissioner St. Cyr, yourself, feel confident that this school will be safe and ready to go for the first day of school.
Once we have the report back,
Yep.
I'll make sure that I'm back to the council immediately to let us all know what's happening. But I just didn't want anyone that's listening at home not to think that nothing's happening over there. Thank you.
How's it get you?
Mr. Mayor, and that's my concern, Mr. Manager, is that we have a third party that we don't have the time frame back yet. That's all my concern is it going to be ready and is it not? And I don't want anyone to take away from this motion that the city hasn't done work over there. But if there's still an issue, we still have an issue. You can go do a lot of work in a lot of places, but if there isn't an issue still, then that's our obligation. I know because I've seen the money that has been spent when we look at all of this, and I thank your staff for all the hard work they did over there. But that's the question, will this affect the opening of that school? And we don't have that answer because we don't have the third-party testing yet, is what I come out of this.
That's correct. I should have that information, I'm hoping tomorrow, being Wednesday, possibly Thursday. But as soon as I do have that, this council will have it.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Could you send that over as soon as possible?
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 618, Councilor Getchia requests city manager provide city council and school committee with a written copy of the policies and procedures for filling a city council or school committee position that has been declared vacant. Seconded by Councilor Chow. Councilor Getchia.
There's a registered speaker, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Clerk.
Lynn Daly.
Lynn Daly, 35 Windward Road, Lowell, Mass. Good evening. The city and the residents need a process for filling a vacancy by appointment to the Lowell City Council and School Committee intended to be consistent with implementing the Lowell City Charter. Specifically, when the member stepping down ran unopposed. This policy could look like the following 10-step process described in 2 minutes. 1, in the event of a vacancy, the city clerk will work with city staff to notify the public of the vacancy. 2, the application period shall commence on a date established by the city clerk no later than 5 calendar days after the vacancy is declared by the city council or school committee, in accordance with the charter, and end on the day following 14 days after the commencement date. Individuals submit applications. Clerk provides all qualified applications to the mayor and the council no later than 72 hours prior to the meeting scheduled for nominations or interviews. Applications are made available to the public at the same time. The city clerk, step 3, the city clerk shall place an item on the agenda of an open city council meeting indicating that nominations by the city council members for interviews to fill the vacancy will take place. The vacancy and the names of applicants who have submitted a qualified application during the application period will be listed. Step 4, at the meeting for nominations, any member of the public, including any individual submitting a qualified application, shall be afforded the opportunity to speak to the nomination. Step 5, following the public comment period, the mayor and each council member will complete a form indicating one or more applicants each wishes to nominate for an interview and provide the form to the city clerk. The form submitted to the city clerk shall be public record and retained on file in the office of the city clerk. Step 6, the city clerk shall then publicly announce each applicant receiving 2 or more nominations and indicate that each council member's nomination form is available for public review. Step 7, the mayor and the city council shall then collectively set a date and time to hold an open meeting of the city council for the purpose of interviewing each applicant who received 2 or more nominations. Step 8, at the meeting set for interviews, any member of the public shall be afforded the opportunity to speak to the interview item prior to the commencement of the interview process. Step 9, the mayor and city council will then conduct the interviews. Step 10, public comment will be solicited and followed and allowed again after the interviews. Following the interviews and any public comment, the mayor and city council shall publicly deliberate and select one individual for each available position. The affirmative votes of at least 3 council members are required for appointment. These are just some thoughts to give a perspective to a potential policy. I've done a lot of research and would be happy to pass it along to the appropriate department. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The petition passed, correct?
I think the speaker's talking about in the second year of the, because the first part, I think it goes through the special election, the second, I think it's in the second year that we're talking about. And I think it raises, like you just did, I think we all have concerns on the whole process altogether. How does it work? How do we go through this? Councilor Mercy had put together a process to try to get this moving along at that point. And a lot of the things that were incorporated are still incorporated in what Councilor Mercy had done it at that time. And I just think that if going forward we have an outline of it after the first year piece, or we can send this to the rules subcommittee and come up with something, but I think the city solicitor should weigh in on some of this and where we can put this together for future. That's the reason why, and invite the school committee in, because I think it's confusing on the school committee side that the council actually has to say, okay, so I just think inviting people to the conversation would make it a lot smoother in the future, that's all.
Motion by Councilor Gitche to send 618 to a rules subcommittee, second by Councilor Robinson. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 619, motion by myself, request city manager update the council on property at 535 Pawtucket Boulevard, seconded by Councilor Robinson. Quickly, Mr. Manager, the property is really in difficult condition. The overgrowth is boarded up. There's probably people going in and out of there all the time. Tremendous eyesore, and at this point in time, health hazard. I know, hopefully there are fines that are being given out on a daily basis if possible. I know in the past there was tax issues and had a hard time finding out who the correct owners of the property were, but got multiple calls on this. People asking if the property can be just taken down altogether and raised. All set?
Mr. Mayor, do you know if there's taxes owed on that property?
I know years ago, Council, there was. We had, I believe, Mr. McKenna, the solicitor, was here, who deals with the real estate in the city. But this was the previous council.
Well, I know it's an eyesore. I saw it the other day, and I said, "Oh my God!" Yeah. And then I saw your motion. I said, "Gee, what a coincidence! I just saw it and thought it was an eyesore."
Yeah, there was some, derogatory language. I know the city went in there and covered that up. So I don't know what else we could do as far as, clean the area up, or just finding who owns the place and, keep on finding. But Mr. Manager, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the council. Solicitor Bolio is going to look at that tomorrow, but more than likely it is something that is already in tax title, but we can have that answer for you, and if need be, we can have it cleaned up if there's a problem there.
Do we know who owns the place?
Not off. I apologize, Council. Not offhand, but it's something
Sure.
I'm very familiar exactly where he's talking about. It's been an eyesore for a number of years.
Yes.
And it tends to be a problem within the line of lineage of ownership that the courts get quirky about.
That's a shame.
It is.
Something should be done. Thank you.
Just a quick, Councilor Robinson, go ahead.
Through you. So speaking of this area, though, of Pawtucket Boulevard, I have to say kudos to a lot that's been going on, as we discussed. That new road surface over there has been greatly appreciated. I mean, what a difference that makes. And then, I don't know who went over, but they cut the center island and it took care of a long stretch of that. And I mean, it looks great over there. I thought that when I drove to work this morning.
Yeah, I did speak to Commissioner St. Cyr late last week, and I brought up the just the brush and the overgrowth there, and I know they've been working hard and saved me filing a motion, which is great. Mr. Manager, I know there's a couple of trees up higher towards UMass Lowell North Campus that Commissioner St. Cyr stated that the state was in charge of. There's 3 or 4 trees that are pretty high that could stop hard time seeing traffic when you're coming down the hill there from North Campus towards the McDonald's. So if you could just maybe make a phone call to the state delegation on that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes. Before we go into the communication of the city manager.
Councilor, real quick, all in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Councilor Marsh, go ahead.
Should I repeat what I just said? I'd like to suspend the rules to bring in 13.7 miscellaneous Lowell Central Electric, please.
Motion by Councilor Mercia to take 13.7 out of order.
Second.
By Councilor Robinson. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 13.7 miscellaneous Lowell Central Electric. Attorney John Cox requests City Council extend SMF zoning district to include property at 534, 556 Chester Street, which is zoned RR zoning district. A motion to refer to Law Department for report recommendation and prepare a draft ordinance by Councilor Noon, second by Councilor Yem. Questions, comments?
No.
Roll call. No. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. There you go. So, communications from the city manager. 7.1 is these will continue from July 23rd, 2024. City council meeting. Motion response B. Fire safety. Councilors Noon and Janess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the report. Look like the chief have done a lot in terms of a fire safety education and program, and also not only that, but also have it in multi-language flyers. I would recommend that the vendor that we use for Khmer translation stop using them, because it's Google translation is an insult to all of us here who happen to be Cambodian American. And that just all it is. The report is good. Everything's good. Just the vendor that we use to translate.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Ms. Mayor, through the council. Councilor, we knew that, and there was a Spanish problem in Spanish as well. I know the chief has reached out to Massachusetts.
Yeah, the Department of Fire Services.
Department of Fire Services to inform them of the concerns. But anything that goes out from our perspective will be checked from the Spanish side as well as Khmer.
Councilor Janess, anything?
I think Councilor Noon covered it. Thank you.
Great. Motion response C. Reckless bikers. Councilor Janess, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the report, and I appreciate the efforts that the chief and LPD has put forth here. I know it's a tough situation to manage, and I appreciate what they're doing. The motion, in my mind, I didn't know if it made sense to create a task force, maybe with council members or other public safety folks to talk about this, but it doesn't sound like from the response that was either considered or that the chief thought that was the way to go. But he knows his job better than I do. I'm not going to tell him how to do his job. So I'm good with this response, and I don't know if there's any suggestions that the chief might have, that actions that we as council should take here. But I appreciate the work they're putting forward here.
Councilor Noon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just add on to Councilor Janess. I know that we talked to the chief at the subcommittee last time as well, a little bit about we call it gang, biker. So we have a city, a no pursuit policy, which is, is the right things to do. But also in the report, the chief indicated that there's an intelligent collection, citing possible and tip and trend sort of where it's usually happen, so that, we have patrolmen and women ready to, stop them if they can. But also there's a network as well with other police department in stopping and trying to deter them from, doing what they're doing, which is endanger the public. And you see that too. I mean, sometimes you see young people even on bicycle in downtown Lowell lift their front tie up. They more endanger themselves than the pedestrian and or can cause accident. But my more concern is with the biker on the city street at night. And just. So I know that's not much the police can do, the chief and his people can do, but I appreciate the report and keep an eye on it and just try to deter them as best as they can. Thank you.
Councilor Yem?
Mr. Mayor? Sorry.
Yeah, we'll get to you. Councilor Yem, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the chief, I just want to thank you for the good report, and then my favorite part is that you introducing the email tip lines, which is helpful for neighbors who knew a group of biker that was reside in a certain residence, and they can report that. But if I may ask, take a step further by having the text tip line, I can text to whatever, and then the text will come to the police department. As we know, most of the people are using the cell phone, they text, so the text would be really helpful. And it's easier because not everybody, when they were on the street, have an access to the email right there and there. But by texting it, you get the information. So that's just my additional suggestion, sir. Thank you.
Councilor Robertson.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the chief. I just have a question. I know the council, a while ago, we passed something to kind of restrict gas stations from providing fuel to these bikers. Do you know if surrounding communities have something similar enacted or as well? And are you aware of, are we monitoring the gas stations as far as the fuel output for these bikes?
Yeah, thank you, Councilor, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Manager, to the council. We just recently had our NRU officers last month, went out with the fire chief and fire safety, not the fire chief, but the fire safety personnel to all the gas stations in the city, advising them of the ordinance and reminding them of the ordinance, and we are still in the process of getting some signage put up at those gas stations as well, but we are following up with that. I'm not familiar with what some of the other cities and towns have for ordinances or laws regarding the gas stations with bikes.
Thank you, because I know, as cited in this report, partner agencies including Chelmsford, Tingsboro, Tewksbury, Methuen, Lawrence, with this bike task force. I mean, through you, Mr. Mayor, to the chief, would it be unreasonable to maybe speak to these partnered agencies and see if their community be willing to do something with the fuel ban as well? Because if Lowell starts to really enforce it, they pull out to, say, Chelmsford or the next town over. What good is it doing us?
Thank you, Council. Just, we do have a standing meeting every 2 weeks since the council asked about the task force. It's not a task force per se, but Deputy Blank has meetings every 2 weeks with the surrounding departments, and they're discussing any and all options. What are they seeing? What are they hearing? We're sharing our information. And again, I appreciate the opportunity for us getting the biker tips email out there. Council, I appreciate that. I do believe we have a text line. I'll have to get that and add that to the information as well. And again, we're going to bring all that information together, and if it's actionable intelligence, then we're going to assign that to our traffic unit and follow up on it. So I appreciate that opportunity.
Thank you.
Councilor Gitcha.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the chief, I thank you for the report. One of the things that I know all of us have seen is every time there's a festival, these guys decide that they're just going to take it over. They did it with the Puerto Rican festival. They just sat out there, and they sat there and just like looked at you, and they just sat there. And is there a way that we could put a task force together just for the festivals at that point and see if that it can be stopped? I mean, you're watching the kids and the bicycles just pull wheelies straight in the middle of the road and just look at everybody, and it's almost like they want the attention of taking over the festivals that are bringing in good people from other places. And I think that that's really what a driver to our concern is that, you know, you're trying to bring nice people into the area, and then you get these guys doing those things. So if we can just maybe ramp up during that time, or have, you can walk right up to them. It's not like they try to take off if you're in plain clothes. Thank you.
Councilor Dennis, anything else?
Just a quick thing, thank you. I was just going to ask the manager and the chief if we could, next time this becomes an issue, you know, if we could make sure we push out the tip line on social media when people are paying attention to this, just to try to get some more eyeballs on it and let people know that it exists. Thank you.
Motion response D, street lighting. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a very good report, and the reason for the motion in the first place was the CMAA, Cambodian Mutual Assistance Association, had a neighborhood meeting, and the residents' concern were mainly the lighting in this, or the lack thereof, or lights that were broken and should be replaced in the Middlesex Street, Westford Street area. Having said that, Captain Damaris oversaw the meeting, and he helped coordinate with me to go to the different lighting areas, the poles, and he came up with 6 of these poles, 4 of which needed to have the lights replaced. They were already there, but the other 2 at 360 Westford Street and 302 Westford Street, that was of great importance for lighting, but there were no lights on it. And the report said that during the week ending 7/27, which was July 27th, these new fixtures will be included. So I'm wondering if they were.
Oh, Manager? Oh, St. Cyr.
Thank you. Yes, good evening. They actually did take place that week. They're up and in operation.
Thank you so much. Mission complete.
Mission complete.
My God, you talk about service. Thank you so much.
Motion response E, sidewalk on Stevens Street. Councilor Gitcha.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. It looks like this is moving along, Manager Golden. The only question I would have is, did we reach out to any of the neighbors and see if they'll plant a tree that when one gets taken down, and see if we can replace some trees in the neighborhood as we take down some? Can we see if there's other people in the area that would replace them in kind? That's all.
Ms. Byers-Rose, we still have that tree program?
No, I know we have the tree, but that makes the resident kind of reach out to you. But if we're taking them down, is there a way we can reach out to residents in that neighborhood and see if we can actually say, okay, you know, can we get another tree planted? That's all. And do it for free.
Yeah, it's still free, right?
We do still have that program. The area was significantly expanded to basically capture almost all of Lowell, except for a small portion in Belvedere. So as these projects are happening, we can reach out to DCR in advance to try to make sure that we have trees lined up and ready to go when things are being removed.
I know we talked about this probably 2 years ago, creating a tree committee and trying to start getting a tree inventory and starting to do these things. And I just think as we go through all these engineering projects, is there a way that we could actually offer the neighborhood the amount of trees that are being taken down at the same time? Have a program that you just go to the neighbors and say, hey, is there a way we can, and define the tree at the time? That's all. Thank you.
Motion response F, existing educational programs. Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Manager, and Commissioner Sincere for the report. I think they're doing a great job here. I think they also see a reduction in contamination rate between November 2023 and April 2024. This is working. I mean, the code enforcement, education, keep on at it because it's important. You know, it's certainly the work that your team is doing. I recognize and appreciate it. So this education work and enforcement blended together, it's really working. So thank you for the report.
Motion response G, recycling center. Councilor Noon.
I think before tonight, it was, I think 2 weeks ago, you know, Commissioner Sincere and his team have already adjusted the hour, and a lot of people are happy for those who are working first shift. So thank you, Commissioner Sincere and his team, for the report.
Need a motion to accept and place on file 7.1 motion responses by Councilor Gitcha, second by Councilor Dakota. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 7.2 motion responses A, motor vehicle tickets fiscal year 2024. Councilor Gitcha.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Manager Golden, this is one of the better reports, and I thank the chief for this, because basically what it comes down to is 77% of the tickets written are paid. So when you start looking at the numbers and you start going through them, you got $857,000. Does that go right back into our revenues? Is that where that money goes? Through you to CFO Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The revenue that's received by the city is split. A component of it, approximately 50%, goes to the general fund. The other half goes into a special revenue fund, the STEP account, we call it, which is used for directed patrol. The chief can certainly speak to the details of the program, but it's used for police vehicle purchases and for enforcement of speeding.
Does that have to be spent in the same fiscal year it's collected, or
It's a multi-year fund,
Okay,
Counselor,
right.
so it carries forward.
So when you look at these numbers and you hear of all the issues in the city of people saying, you know, they're speeding this, speeding that, it seems to me if you're writing out tickets and you're getting 77% return, that there is an aptitude that you can get your money back if you hired another police officer. And I know that they're down and you're trying to get to that point anyway, but if you put people out there, you're going to get a major return on your funding, and you'll actually, I don't know if you decrease speeding, I'm never going to say that, because vehicles are faster than ever, but it would help the neighbors understand somebody's in their neighborhood, somebody's working, because that's a large number. I was thinking it would be 50% at best. The challenging thing is I'm sure the chief already knows, is 53% doesn't get, not responsible at the courthouse. I think that's the challenge, but.
I guess it's just through experience, a lot of those could be if you're driving with maybe no registration, a day after your insurance runs out.
Okay.
And someone goes and gets it the next day, when they appeal it, then it will get dismissed because they did the right thing and went through the court system. I guess that's probably 90% of the ones.
That's a great explanation, because that's what I was going to ask, is what do you think the reasons are for that? And obviously it's
9 times out.
an objective, which again, I think it's a very good return on investment. I think that we should look at a plan that we could put in place that's going to even drive more enforcement into the neighborhoods, because that's really the number one complaint that a lot of us as councilors get, is people speeding, people doing things in neighborhoods. How do we slow it down? Now we're even at the point of putting speed bumps in neighborhoods where if there's a patrol officer there, they're still going to go over the speed bump at 40. It does slow down the person who cares about their vehicle, but the other person who has a 4x4 and thinks he's in, you know, a mud trap is going to fly right over it at 100. So I thank you for the report. I would have never guessed it would have came out this way, and I don't know if you already knew these numbers, but it's pretty good numbers for the city, and thank you again.
Motion response B, Lowell Fire Department aerial ladder, Councilor Robinson.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the chief. Very informative. I briefly threw this at him in passing a while ago, and the train of thought behind this was, you know, we were considering some development projects where we might be looking at larger size buildings and what would first responders need to access it, but this is so informative and it makes perfect sense. Again, for our application, the way our men and women are trained, the size of our streets, congestion with traffic. I mean, all of these things factor in, and thank you very much for clearly spelling that out and giving like a primer. I'd urge all our residents to read. I mean, these 4 or 5 paragraphs that the chief took his time to write out here really gave you a rundown on exactly why we use what we use and why we shouldn't use what others use. So thank you very much, Chief. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Motion response C, Mayor welcome, Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Mr. Manager. Thank you, Mr. Managers. I know you're working on it, so thank you.
Motion response D, State Delegation, Councilor Scott Robinson, didn't get you. Gentlemen, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Manager, for and Mr. Baldwin for the report. I guess we'll be looking forward to locking down a date to invite him in and have the conversation. Thank you.
Good luck. Want to get you anything? Motion response E, see something, say something, Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. So first I want to say thank you for this response, but it was a little confusing. It's all of the pieces that we were able to find that we currently have. The last section, in terms of a rollout, it'd be best to introduce this to residents in spring 2025. So does that say, I mean, and you give a price breakdown to bring an illustrator on board with this project, is this something we're going to be moving to and try to push in the spring? A new, updated, consolidated graphic that has everything in one. Oh, that's great, because I really found the graphic really is effective. I think a lot of people, their eyes gravitate towards it, and it's quick. You hang it on your fridge, and hey, I saw something, and bang, the info's right there. Hopefully, we can still get this 311 up and going as well. So, I mean, but until that's going, this will serve its purpose. Thank you.
I need a motion to accept and place responses on file by Councilor Dakota, second by Councilor Belanger. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 7.4, communication to appoint James Harmon to Veterans Commission. Motion to adopt by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Chow. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Counsel Noon. Counsel Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Scott. Counsel Yem.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Chow.
Yes.
Counsel Dakota.
Yes.
Counsel Getchia.
Yes.
Counsel Janess.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is it possible that we could bundle the votes 8.1 to 8.7 minus the 8.6? We already took it
By
up.
Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Noon. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Votes on the city manager, 8.1, accept, expend $35,521 in equipment and technology grant. Lowell Police Department, 8.2, vote to accept, expend $82,876 SSYI grant. Lowell Police Department, 8.3, vote to affirm the vote of the Lowell Memorial Auditorium Board of Trustees for Mickey O'Keefe plaque. 8.4, authorize city manager amend parking lease with All Smile Dental Care Incorporated. 8.5, authorize city manager enter a license agreement with the Kiwanis Club of Greater Lowell. 8.7, authorize city manager to send notice of hearing. Need a motion to accept those by Councilor Noon, second by Councilor Yem.
Yep.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Counsel Noon.
Yes.
Counsel Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Scott. Counsel Yem.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Chow.
Yes.
Counsel Dakota.
Yes.
Counsel Getchia.
Yes.
Counsel Janess.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
9, orders from the city manager, order a 60-day trial, waive full reading and second reading by title, motion to adopt. Order pursuant to Chapter 266 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, Massachusetts, concerning Section 266-6, therefore entitled Temporary Experimental Regulations. Temporary traffic regulations are hereby implemented for a period of up to 60 days. Need a motion to adopt by Councilor Robinson, second by Councilor Yem. Questions? Roll call.
Counsel Noon.
Yes.
Counsel Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Scott. Counsel Yem.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Chow.
Yes.
Counsel Dakota.
Yes.
Counsel Getchia.
Yes.
Counsel Janess.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
10, ordinances from the city manager, 10.1, ordinance quarterly traffic, August 2024. First reading, motion to refer to a public hearing on August 27th, 2024 at 7 p.m. by Councilor Belanger, seconded by Councilor Getchia. All those in favor say, roll call.
No roll call. No roll.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 11, resolutions, 11.1, support LTC union negotiations, waive the full reading and second reading by title. Resolution. The City Council of the City of Lowell wishes to go on record in support of the unionized staff and management of Lowell Telecommunications Corporation. Yeah, motion, where is it? To adopt by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Noon. Roll call.
Counsel Noon.
Yes.
Counsel Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Scott. Counsel Yem.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Chow.
Yes.
Counsel Dakota.
Yes.
Counsel Getchia.
Yes.
Counsel Janess.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
12, report subcommittees. 12.1, Housing Subcommittee, August 13th, 2024. Chairman Yem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The subcommittee meet at today, August 13, starting at 5:30, to take up the motion and the discussion that was left off on April 9th. The purpose of the subcommittee to meet is to establish the Affordable Housing Trust and some recommendation. We have our city CFO providing some information. that the city of Lowell is it's in need of about 800,000 affordable housing by 2024, and the CFO also provide the statutory authority to create this affordable housing trust. Is Massachusetts Chapter 44, Section 55C. So it is required that the City Council as a whole will vote to create this, and then also talked about the membership of the trustee and then the funding sources of this affordable housing trust. And the funding can come from, according to the solicitor, the CFO, it can come from the ARPA money, and also as part of the CPA fund also contribute to this as well. So the other sources of income, the CFO providing some example from community around like Cambridge and Somerville. One of the program is called Linkage. It's this is the fund that will be contributed by developer who may ask for a certain exemption. For example, if they don't have enough parking, they can receive the exemption, but then they contribute to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. And the amount proposed and suggested by our CFO is $10 for residential and $12 commercials. This is the same kind of layout, similar to the city of Somerville. So we as a subcommittee has a request and then and vote to send the whole proposal to the full council, and hopefully the entire council will vote at our next the next council meeting. And that's one of the portion of the housing subcommittee. The other is talked about the amend the zoning of a parcel in the acre 234 to 263 Mount Vernon Street and number 5 Farnham Street. This particular parcel was is part of the Acre Urban Revitalization Development Plan that was started out back in '72 and then developed and approved by the state DHCD at the time, and that was voted by the council June 8, 1999. Basically to allow this parcel, the parcel to be first change it to the LI, that means in light industrial, so that the development on that particular parcel. However, the development did not move forward, and now what the DPD would like to do is to revert back the zoning to the UMF, that means urban multifamily zoning. So as a subcommittee, we refer this to the full council and duly ask that the full council approve the changes, because it was UMF, then changed to LI, and then now the DPD would like to change it back to UMF for the purpose of more affordable housing in the acre. Thank you so much.
So I'll make a motion. Councilor Brusher, go ahead first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to say it again because I've said it in the past, but it's like talking to the wall, and I have a pet peeve here. And I don't know why we don't follow this simple little procedure as a matter of courtesy to my colleagues, and I'm going to say what I have to say. I always have a concern with a subcommittee, and the members get the packet, the presentation, but those of us that come in, which we came in a little bit later and missed like some of this subcommittee meeting because we were at the other end of the building with another event that was taking place. So I missed it. I don't know why, if the subcommittee board gets their little printout and presentation, why this whole council doesn't get the same thing. That always bugged me. Why couldn't they make a few more and let the rest of us see it? Then I could have read it and understood a little bit more what he's saying, because if you saw the presentation, it said when the public hearing was the first reading and this, that. I don't know that now because I don't have it in front of me. I don't have it as a reference. I don't have anything of what was being said, which was very, very important. But if you come in a little late because you got another event and you don't have anything, any presentation, written presentation, and that bugs me. And I've said this before time and time again, and nobody listens. I don't know why. I mean, just because the subcommittee gets it, why can't this council? We're a part of this board, and we don't get it. So that's I'm going to make a report after this, but I don't have a presentation. We never got one. But if we did, I would make sure that all 11 of us got it. But that's
Mr. Mayor, on that note, may I ask the CFO and then Ms. Bays Rose send out the package to the rest of the council, because I made the request to have it emailed to all the members of the subcommittee, but now the subcommittee meet and then the council's going to vote, full body's going to vote. I would like the members of the entire council receive a packet as well. And I agree with Councillor Mercier, there should be extra copies available for other councillors who would like to sit in and listen and follow through as well. So well taken.
So motion to accept the report of progress and also to adopt the motions at the subcommittee meeting to go to the law department, then I'll come back to us for further discussion.
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right, Councilor Yam, second by Councilor Robinson. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 12.2, Senior Citizen Subcommittee, August 1st, 2024. Chairwoman, Councilor Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Thursday afternoon, on August 1st, we held our senior subcommittee meeting at the Lowell Senior Center. Those in attendance were my colleagues and subcommittee members, Councilor Eric Gitchia and Councilor John Dakota, Senior Center Director Kim Gagnon, along with Belle Dominguez, Chief DEI Officer, and last but never least, our City Clerk, Michael Gary. First to speak on the issue was Sheila from Hank Street, who took the time to attend the meeting again to thank the city and the manager's office for painting a crosswalk across Rogers Street near Hank Street. She was still concerned about the need for new sidewalks in the area of Hank Street. The sidewalks, she says, need to be addressed. So next time we could invite probably someone from the DPW to attend our meeting. She also brought up her concern on the possible renovation from Mr. Demoulas in Stadium Plaza. She was still concerned, and through you, Mr. Mayor, to the city manager, if it's possible, can anybody talk to Arthur Demoulas and ask if he's still considering plans with the Stadium Plaza? I once heard that they were going to put a restaurant there where that plaza is, and they were going to take a market basket and put it to the other end. Yeah, I did hear that. If we know anything about it, maybe he's not going to do anything, but at least we would know. Next up was Joseph. He was concerned about the 25 mile an hour per hour speed limit signs that seemed to be completely ignored. He pinpointed the area of concern on Lakeview Avenue at the four-way stop where West 6th Street near the pawn shop and St. Louis School meet. Over there, he had witnessed 6 to 7 near misses. Councilor Gitchia wanted to know if a study was done and if that is one of those areas where the 25 mile per hour speed limit is actually 30 and not 25. And asked about what can be done about Fort Hill Park and the loud sounds emanating from motorized bikes. Not only are they dangerous, but they're loud as well. And she wondered why they terrorize the area over there and ride all over the property and make that loud noise. She suggested we place a sign stating no motorized bikes allowed and make them register and put plates on all the scooters. Also, Ann from Westford Street, who spoke last month about the handicap parking sign at the east side of the building. She said that she called someone in City Hall. I don't understand this, and they told her that they can't put up handicap signs because this building site is on private property. That I find hard to believe. It isn't private property, isn't it city property now? So I don't know where she got someone saying that to her, but I'm still concerned, and we should still get the signs on the east side, being the Adams Street side. Whatever that means, we should, if there should ever be a future agreement, she said, between Saris and the city, we could work this request into it and have it designated as part of the agreement. Next was Connie, who asked about housing downtown and the empty storefronts. Perhaps in the future, we could bring in Giovanni Baez-Rose with us at a future meeting, because they seem to have a lot of concerns about downtown and empty storefronts and what can be done, and what about the planning of the city, and you are the planner, and you'd be a perfect guest with us. Lastly, we had the Senior Center Director, Kim Gagnon, who brought an update and a report about past concerns, like the computer. That duty falls under the library, and the computers are up, but they're not quite running. They need to be hardwired by MIS so that the computers are not fully online yet. The July trips went off successfully, and they are working on their August trips. We had an ad for a driver/custodian, but would like the job title separated. They said we tried to contact a backup. The driver would need a CDL license if the vehicle is bigger or larger than a van. So that's my report of progress. If any of my colleagues have any input to that, I would welcome it.
Councilor Getcha.
Mr. Manager, we also shared over NRT's numbers, so if they didn't have somebody for some of these trips, they do have a group that actually will drive, so you can sub out some of that stuff. That's what we do at the school when they don't have people for the track team or someone like that. We just call NRT, they send somebody over and they can drive them on their trips. So it may be something, because of the funding's there, that you can look into and just have them on a contract piece that they can actually drive them out there.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the council. That's a great option, because we also have LRTA that is offered as well. So hopefully that won't happen in the future where we don't have a bus driver.
Yeah, I shared the contact with them over there.
Motion to accept the Senior Citizen Subcommittee report as a report of progress by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Getchell. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 13 petitions, 13.1 claims, 3 property damage. Motion to refer to Law Department for report recommendation by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Yell. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 13.3 to 13.6 we'll take all at once. They're all going to the transportation engineer by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Noon. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 13.3, Claudia Gabriel requests installation of a handicap parking sign at 4 Park Street. 13.4, Ann Resmini requests installation of a handicap parking sign at 14 Bunker Hill Ave. 13.5, Luz Mater Torres requests installation of a handicap parking sign at 715 Bridge Street. And 13.6, miscellaneous, Melissa Ice, for benefit of Jacobin Ice, requests installation of a handicap parking sign at 717 Bridge Street. In a motion to refer all to the transportation engineer for a report recommendation by Councilor Valinger, second by Councilor Chow. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Section 14, City Council Executive Session. 14.1, Executive Session, discuss matters of litigation, open meeting complaint, public discussions of which may have a detrimental effect on the city's position. In a motion to enter executive session and to also adjourn from that session by Councilor Noon, second by Councilor Yem. Roll call.
Councilor Noon.
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Councilor Cox. Councilor Yem.
Yes.
Councilor Belanger.
Yes.
Councilor Chow.
Yes.
Councilor Dakota.
Yes.
Councilor Getchia.
Yes.
Councilor Janess.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
And yes.
Any announcements? All set? All right, let's go.